I gotta set my
I'm
settings.
live.
Well, no, that's right. Why is it not using my microphone? Huh. Pretty sure that's the right one. Huh. Oh, there it goes. It's moving now. I was like, wait, it wouldn't move. All right. Ooh. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Good Saturday, everybody.
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
mean, some.
I was about to say, I was just about to say, I was about to say, everyone who is still celebrating, enjoying Saturday. I know
Yeah,
some of our fans are already into Sunday, so
yeah, yeah, which is crazy to think about, but
it is
uh,
weird.
yeah, it's just like one of the so I guess I could say that since you kind of brought that up. One of the announcements that I had was
Oh, there you go.
a guest coming on November. What did I say? It was 25th. Yeah, 25th. So we're actually doing a Friday night interview on
Yep.
November 25th from a band in Australia called Hidden Intent. They're actually 15 hours ahead of us, which I did not know until I was talking
Hmm.
to them about scheduling something, and I was like, "Oh wow, that's yeah, we got to figure that out."
Yep.
So luckily we came to agreement. So uh, looking forward to that, and then
Yep.
uh,
That is
we got
That's announcement number one.
yeah, we got another band in the mix for the 3rd of December. So we'll let you know about that one when it gets a little closer. But everything seems to be pretty concrete with that. So looking forward to that too. That band's out of Belgium, so we're actually we're still doing our world tour over here. So
That's right. That's right.
uh,
Shit,
yeah,
that's a shirt we need to get. Metalheads Unite World Tour 2023.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's a definitely. We didn't actually go there, but virtually we were.
Yeah,
Uh,
the world has come to us for sure. So
it's crazy, Like I said, think 2 years into this, and we're talking about stuff like that. So
hmm
definitely, you know, definitely can't complain. It's
hmm
definitely bigger than what we expected it to be. So
Yep.
that's always a good thing.
Yep.
You know,
It's all in huge part to you guys out there.
you know, feel like I feel like a senior female on prom night. It's bigger than we thought it was going to be. So
There you go. And Victor, good morning to you, sir.
uh, sorry, I didn't even have my comments turned on over here.
Yep.
I'm like uh, behind the time.
Our good friend Victor is in the chat today.
And man, I don't want to do all the announcements trying to get because then people
But
don't
yeah,
know.
no, yeah, no, let's not do that. Nope.
uh,
We gotta give it to him in like little chunks.
little chunks, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, little chunks.
So, all right. Well, like I said, we got a lot to get to because in case you guys missed last week, um, we had a band. We had Stella and Tina from Hexed on, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and they were here pretty much the majority of the show, so we didn't really get
Yep.
to capture much of the regular content, which is fine. We're okay with that. So
Yeah, yeah.
we're kind of used to that when we get bands
Mm-hmm.
on. So we have a lot of leftover stuff to talk about.
Yeah, it was a nice 2.5 hour chat.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have, like with all the other stuff, all the other interviews we've done. I feel like a lot of those could have went on, 4 and 5 hours. But and actually, the band I was talking to that I got scheduled for December 3rd was asking me, said, "Hey, is this just like a hour and a half? You ask me questions and stuff, or is it a 3 hour? We're just shooting the shit about music?" I said, we're definitely the 3 hour we shooting the shit about music. So
Yep.
we're definitely that podcast.
Yes.
So looks like Victor's heading to Atlanta again. So
Yep, he's headed to Atlanta, and I have no doubt he's going to be doing some live streaming like he
oh yeah,
was. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was last week.
yeah.
And if that is the case, then we will definitely be, with his permission, mind you, we'll be sharing his live streaming. So that will be the
Well,
plan.
I'm
If
pretty
you
sure
guys
he's.
are
I'm pretty sure he's cool with it because I think he shares
well,
a
yeah,
lot of it to our page anyway. So
right. But still, I never want to, I never
well,
want to
yeah,
make
yeah, yeah,
I never want to make any assumptions with anybody else's content. So,
yeah. True,
but
true. So
yeah. So we'd definitely be sharing some live streaming from Atlanta, if Victor gives us the go ahead. So
cool. Yeah, he's been to some very good shows this year. I
yeah,
mean,
he has.
we've been to some good shows, but man, he's been to some ones I didn't even know about. I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
he has been.
I was like,
He
really? How did I miss that? But unfortunately, this time of year is kind of tight for me being in retail. So
same. Yeah.
we're getting into the holiday season. So I gotta kind of pinch and already we've already got Machine Head coming up in December.
Mm-hmm.
So we're snow. Oh yeah, the Snowblind Fest. Yeah,
Yep. Snowblind Fest. Yep.
he shared that on our page too. So
Yes, he did.
yeah, it looked pretty good. It looked like it was going to be a pretty
Oh,
good one too.
yeah, good lineup.
Yeah. So definitely, what you can't get from us, you can definitely get from Victor. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think between all of us, we damn near covered every concert tour that's went on this year. So
It seems like it. Yeah.
so,
But again, it's cool to collaborate with other metalheads and other pages. Like
yeah,
rock. Victor over at Rock and Heavy, Dane over at Metal and Tats. And then we kind of got the three of us. All of us together, kind of just helping each other out and working together. It's actually gone pretty well.
And I also want to give a shout out to my friends over at Decibel Geek.
Yeah.
I shared a little interesting podcast. I was actually listening to that when I was. I usually listen to them live when they do live shows on Friday while I'm prepping, but they didn't do a live show. But they had shared their Tuesday show from earlier. They pre-record that one, so
yeah. That was the Motley Crue episode, right?
Yeah, it was actually pretty interesting. I was and it's I like listening to that show because they're, like I said, they're more, if you know anything about glam or what we call glam or hair metal. I mean those two guys, man, they live that stuff. Big Kiss fans, so you can imagine what all they talk about on there. But they did the best and worst of Motley Crue, which was pretty interesting.
Wow.
I couldn't really argue with a lot of what they were saying, but it kind of reminisces me, because I kind of grew up in that era too, but I kind of drifted away from that kind of music, in the late '90s. I kind of drifted away to more harder music, so I kind of drifted away from a lot of the hair metal, which I've still got a lot of hair metal cassettes and stuff from the late '80s, early '90s that I collected, but yeah, so. And it seems weird because sometimes I'll listen to some of that stuff now and I'm just like, sometimes I wonder how did I listen to that? But
right.
Then again, I get in a mood where I want to listen to it. So
yeah,
it's just kind of weird. But yeah, it's definitely brought back some memories of stuff that I had forgotten. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So,
right. Yeah.
But they definitely. It was pretty funny in the beginning. They were talking about so I don't know, something about herpes came up. It was funny, and then Chris was like, well, speaking of herpes, Tommy Lee, and I was like, oh shit.
Oh man.
but yeah, it was pretty good. So it's a good show. Like I said, they were like an hour and 20 minutes, so it's not too awful long. So
Yeah.
but yeah, check out
Yeah, they don't
Metalheads.
they don't drone on like we do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's well, I haven't been on the show yet, so that's probably why.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But we had been talking, and he did invite me on sometime, and I was cool with that. So just so I will if that happens, I'll definitely share with all of our peeps too, so they can check that out. But
oh yeah,
yeah, I like talking that type. I like talking that era of music too. It's just we don't get to do that a lot on this show, so we're more of hey, this is new, check it out, So
yeah, more up to date, more up and coming. Yeah,
which they still talk about new music, but they still talk about new music from those type bands like Enough's Enough. We was that kind of came up the other day. I was like, what? Speaking of that.
And I think TNT just had something come out. Yeah,
TNT just I got a story about that actually. So
there you go.
Well, not a story, but it's from one of the headlines. But
there you go.
But speaking of that era of music, I was looking down the list and I seen the band Leatherwolf, and I was like, "What the fuck? Seriously?" So I was checking that out, and dude, let me tell you, I cannot wait. Like that album did not drop yet, but fucking, I cannot fucking wait, dude. The 3 singles off that album, I was like, "Holy shit, this is fucking great!" But I think
No
that
kidding.
was one of the bands that was kind of before their time, though. You know what I mean? Because they kind of came in. They kind of came in '89, which was kind of the tail end of hair metal and stuff, and that was they for some reason they just didn't kind of fit in with the hair metal. But they were more, I would say they were more in line with like the Dios and Ozzy's and type stuff like that. They weren't the Poisons and Warrants that we were used to at that time. So, which they had to look, but yeah, the sound was definitely way harder than anything that they were doing. So, definitely, and like I thought they were like done because they only made like 2 albums back in the '80s, and then I seen where they actually reunited in like 16 or something. So. So I was like, oh, this is cool because like that's one of the bands that I liked growing up, and I thought they were very underrated. So, yeah, looking forward to that album to come out. But there's 3 singles on Spotify. You gotta check them out.
Okay, yeah, I will. I will actually.
So.
I'll do that.
All right. Well, I guess we can jump into our content since we got a lot to cover. Since we got to do some stories from last week and stories from this week, and and pretty extensive birthday list this week too. So
never a bad thing.
Well, no, I mean better than an extensive death list for sure. But
well, not just wait till the news.
Yeah, I know. But we'll get these birthdays out of the way real quick. I actually had one pop up that I wasn't aware of until after the show last week. So this was a carryover from last week, November 5th. Chris Zinzak from Decibel Geek actually had a birthday last Saturday, and
I
didn't know that until after our show, so I didn't get to give him a shout out. So hopefully he had a good one. I think Chris or Aaron was telling me he was out in California last week, so I don't know if he's working on some stuff for the Rockin' Pod or what he's doing out there, but sounds like he's trying to book some talent if he's out there in LA, because that's the Ricky Ratman scene, kind of what they live in. So
yeah.
So I had November 6th, I had George Young, a guitarist for AC/DC, who unfortunately passed away in 2017. Craig Goldie, a guitarist for Dio. Roz Williams, vocalist for Christian Death. He passed away in 1998. Of course, we had Corey Glover, guitarist and vocalist for Living Color. Paul Gilbert, guitarist and singer for Mr. Big. John Hume, vocalist for Evermore. November 7th, we had Tommy Thayer, guitarist for Kiss. Craig Trebet, guitarist for Mudvayne. Robin Fink, guitarist for Nine Inch Nails and Guns N' Roses. So been in a couple of big bands there. Rob Caggiano, guitarist for Volbeat. Otep Shamaya, I don't know how she pronounces her last name, but she's the vocalist for Otep. Steve DiGiorio, bassist for Testament. We had November 9th. We had Dennis Stratton, guitarist for Iron Maiden. I don't know if that's not a current guitarist, surely. It had to be a former one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was writing something down. Who'd you say?
Dennis Stratton, guitarist for Iron Maiden. So
No, that's a former member.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
former
it
member.
didn't say dates on it. Usually when they're former, they say dates, but it didn't give any dates. So I guess they were slacking. uh, Also on November 9th, we had the one and only Y2J Chris Jericho, who's vocals for Fozzy as well. So happy birthday to him. November 10th, we had Glenn Buxton, guitarist for Alice Cooper. Unfortunately, he passed away in 97. We had Scott Columbus, a drummer for Manowar. Actually, he did 2 stints with Manowar, 83 to 91, and then 94 to 08. And then he unfortunately passed away in 2011. Then we had DJ Ashba, guitarist for 6 a.m., Guns N' Roses, Beautiful Creatures, Bullet Boys, and probably a long list of other stuff. So
probably, yeah.
Actually learned from that podcast that he actually did some stand-in stuff on the last Motley Crue album. So I was like, oh well, that's pretty interesting.
Shit, there you go.
So he actually helped Mick with some of the guitars on the last Motley Crue album. I think Saints of Los Angeles, I think, was the one they were talking about. But
all right, okay.
Yeah, November 11th, we had Robert John Mutt Lang. If you anywhere from the 80s, you kind of remember that name because he was pretty much everything he touched turned to gold back then. So he was a songwriter and producer for. He actually did some rock, pop, and country, but he was definitely had his hand in some of the big names in rock as for AC/DC, Def Leppard, Bryan Adams, and so he definitely had his hand in some big names, and of course he was married to Shania Twain, so he had to get in the country a little bit, I guess. So, then we had Jim Paterick, a guitarist and vocalist and songwriter for Survivor. Of course he had his hand in probably one of the greatest rock anthems ever, "Eye of the Tiger." So, kind of goes in with our theme for the top 10 a little bit, but
yep.
Then we had Mick Michelli, keyboardist for Europe, Jesse Keeler, bassist for Death from Above. And then November 12th, we had Dave Ellefson, bassist for Megadeth, and then Aaron Stainthorpe, singer for My Dying Bride. So happy birthday to all of those. And of course, if I missed anybody, happy birthday to you. And,
actually, we need to make sure before we go too much further, because we promised her last week.
Oh yeah, Myrna.
We promised her last week that we would give her a birthday shout out from the 8th. So
yeah, from the 8th.
So happy birthday to Myrna.
One of our
biggest fans.
Avid followers.
Yes.
She's on here a lot. So
yep.
And then of course, anybody else out there had a birthday this week? Happy birthday to you as well.
Absolutely.
We will kick into some news here.
Yep. And we have way more deaths to talk about than we've had in the last little while. I am absolutely not happy about that, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. So let's see if we can get through these as quick as we can here. Not to disrespect anybody who's passed away, but we don't want to linger on the sad if we don't have to.
Right.
So. All right, starting over there's one story that's just pissed me off so much. But anyway, starting over at the blabbermouth.net, Nazareth's co-founding singer Dan McCafferty has died at the age of 76. Nazareth bassist Pete Agnew confirmed McCafferty's passing in a statement. He wrote, quote, "Dan died at 12:40 today," 12:40 being November 8th. So this was from earlier this week, of course. "This is the saddest announcement I've ever had to make. Mary Ann and the family have lost a wonderful, loving husband and father. I have lost my best friend, and the world has lost one of the greatest singers who ever lived. Too upset to say anything more at this time," end quote. There are only a very few classic rock vocalists whose voices can be recognized on the first notes. One of these voices is McCafferty. After nearly 50 years of Nazareth, Dan unfortunately had to retire from the stage due to health reasons, but he never gave up on his passion to express feelings through music. In October 2019, McCafferty released his third and final solo album, Last Testament. So So we lost him. We lost Dan McCafferty. And let's see what else do we got. I'm just gonna try to get through these. Former Helix guitarist, yep, Daniel Fawcett, who played guitar for the Canadian hard rock band Helix between 2002 and 2004, was found murdered early Sunday morning, November 6th. He was 52 years old. Helix frontman Brian Vollmer confirmed Fawcett's passing, writing in a Facebook post, "What a sad day. Yesterday, Dan Fawcett, who played for Helix around 2000, was found murdered in a North London park. Dan was a sweet guy, always smiling, and a great guy as well. No details have been released yet, so there's little more I can say here. All I can say is that both my wife Linda and I are in shock," end quote. According to Global News, Fawcett was found unresponsive around 6:45 a.m. near the bottom of Grosvenor Street Hill leading into Gibbons Park in London, Ontario, Canada. Emergency crews began life-saving measures. However, Daniel was pronounced dead a short time later. Fawcett appeared on Helix's 2004 album Rockin' in My Outer Space. Daniel's longtime friend and fellow musician Tim E. Hendry told Global News, quote, "We played in so many different bands together for years and years. I think every band I ever played drums in London, Dan at one point had to be the guitar player. He was the lead guitarist in my Elvis show up there, Tim E. and the Yes Men. He could play that chicken pickin' beautiful James Burton Telecaster clean sound, and then the next night he can go and play Ozzy Osbourne or go play Helix or something like that," end quote. So I'm gonna keep my ears open on this one because if this is something that it is gonna turn into like a murder investigation, I want to get some more details on that as they come
Right.
out, if and when they come out, because that's not obviously it's never good when anyone passes away, but
Yeah.
the circumstances behind this one is just strange. So and then
Always, it's as like I said, it's always expected you're going to lose your life. You just don't expect you to lose your life to the hands of someone else. So
yeah. Yeah. All right, and then we've got Hawkwind's Nick Turner has died at the age of 82. Turner's passing was confirmed by a post on his Facebook page. The statement reads, quote, "We are deeply saddened to announce the passing of Nick Turner, the Might Thunder Rider, who passed away peacefully at home on Thursday evening. He has moved on to the next phase of his cosmic journey, guided by the love of his family, friends, and fans. Watch this space for his arrangements," end quote. Turner, the inexhaustible saxophone and flute playing co-founder of space rock legends Hawkwind, was a major creative force during that group's most critically acclaimed and successful period, 1969 to 1976. His outlandish costumes, improvised sax and flute playing, and general wildman persona became iconic representations of the band, and he would go on to pen some of their most popular songs, including Brainstorm and Master of the Universe. After leaving Hawkwind, Turner used his newfound freedom to travel to Egypt, where he soaked up the history and culture, and also made a recording of his flute music in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Cheops or Cheops. I'm not exactly sure how to say that, so you'll have to forgive me there. In 1985, Turner relocated to the west side of Wales, where he set up a new age community in a fairly rural, isolated area. He had continued to release new music in 2013 Space Gypsy and 2015 Space Fusion Odyssey. So definitely had a life, did Nick Turner. So
yeah.
kind of went everywhere and saw everything, it sounds like. And let's see, moving over to moving over to the PRP for a quick update on one of the stories that we talked about a little while ago. Diecast, we talked about Paul Stoddard, the vocalist of Diecast,
Yeah.
passing away. The band gave an update on the cause of his death, and it was pulmonary hypertension. So that's what caused Paul Stoddard's passing. So wanted to update you guys on that. And then this is one that didn't happen in the past week, but I actually saw it come across one of my news feeds on Facebook. So I wanted to talk about this one. This particular story is on popculture.com. Beloved heavy metal guitarist Mark Philbrandt has died following a wrong way crash in Minnesota on Saturday, October 29th. Gorified, the death metal band Philbrandt played with, announced his passing on social media on October 30th, informing their fans, quote, "We are very heartbroken to tell everyone the tragic news that our brother has and guitarist Mark passed away last night. He was hit by a drunk driver on his way home from our show. End quote. Phil Brandt was 54. According to Fox 9, Phil Brandt was heading home after Glorified played a show at a Wisconsin brewery Saturday night. As he traveled along I-94 in the Hudson area, a suspected drunk driver struck his vehicle. According to authorities, the driver of the other vehicle was going the wrong way down I-94 when the crash occurred. Phil Brandt was killed in the crash. The other person involved in the accident, identified by police as 31-year-old Amber Pospisil, was not seriously injured. Pospisil, who was convicted of DWI in Minnesota last year and sentenced to probation, was arrested and charged with homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle, as well as 2 counts of second-degree reckless endangering safety and driving the wrong way on a divided highway. According to authorities, and this is the part that pissed me off. According to authorities, she was drinking a bottle of Tito's vodka in her car on the way back from a wedding and had no memory of getting on the interstate heading the wrong way. Her bail was set at $100,000 cash. God damn it, man. A GoFundMe page has since been created in an effort to raise money to cover the expenses of the beloved guitarist's funeral. The page is also seeking, quote, to get some legislation to do something like spikes, more signage, painted arrows on the exit ramp, etc., to try to prevent this from recurring over and over and over again, end quote. A memorial for Phil Brandt is scheduled to take place at the Underground Northeast Minneapolis at 7 p.m. on Friday, December 9th. So, yeah, that. Oh God, that made me that I don't, I've never heard of this band, to be completely honest with you, but when I because the headline was heavy metal guitarist killed, so
Right.
that obviously that got my attention. So when I started reading into it and everything else and reading the circumstances and all that other shit, so I mean, I felt like it, we had to get that out there because, like I say, I've never heard of the band Glorified, but obviously some people in the Minnesota and Wisconsin area probably have. So, definitely don't want to overlook something like that, especially in those circumstances. Some dingbat getting on the highway going, the wrong way, drunk. It's fucked up, man. It's just fucked up.
So I didn't hear any charges about the manslaughter or anything like that. So.
Oh yeah, she
or vehicular homicide or whatever.
Oh yeah,
whatever they might have charged her with, but
she was charged with that.
Well, $100,000 wasn't a fucking enough. I'll tell you right now. So
no, that's definitely true. Especially since she had a previous conviction for DWI in Minnesota anyway. So some people just don't learn, don't care.
She needs to spend some time in prison. Maybe she'll learn. So
yeah, absolutely. God, just frustrating.
Well, I think that's what's wrong with our country now is we're too much slap on the wrist type shit, and people just keep doing the same shit because they know they're not going to have anything done to them. It's just like, this is bullshit. Like, back when I was growing up, you got one chance, and then if you fucked up again, then you were fucked up. I mean, they didn't play that shit, man. Like, you go out drinking and driving. Okay, fine. You get a citation, some probation, some fines, all that kind of stuff, and then you do it again, then your ass is in jail. So.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of times they would do it anyway. I mean, depending on the cop. I mean, they take your ass to jail and leave you in there the first time because, I mean, especially, I mean, I guess like nowadays it's a lot different though, because back then you didn't have a lot of people on the road at 2 or 3 o'clock in the damn morning because unless you were on a paper route or something, you didn't do that thing when we were growing up. But now that you got businesses that run 24/7, you got people that work 3 shifts so at a company, so there's always somebody, there's always, like I said, as well as I do, GM is right here in our backyard. There's somebody always coming and going out of that place. So
well, the place I work, the production department runs 24/7. So there's cars all the time. So but it's just it's ridiculous. She had a previous conviction. And for whatever probably that may have been her first offense, but here she is back out on the road and ended up she ended up killing somebody.
Yeah, and then and then too, was she what was she do? Like, there's like no cops around at all to see that she's getting on the wrong way, or like, I don't know, like it just there's a lot of ifs in that scenario, I guess, but things happen the way they're supposed to happen, unfortunately. So
I mean, I guess so, but it's just
Yeah.
messed up.
Yeah, it's fortunately you took a life. That's the big thing. I mean, it'd be different if you didn't kill somebody, but you killed
Yeah.
somebody that was innocent and had nothing. They were
Yeah.
just doing their normal driving, and
Yeah. Or like if she would have, just been driving by herself, ran off the road and hit a tree.
well, yeah. So
So I mean, self-inflicted wounds, that's one thing, but when you're doing something stupid and you take somebody with you who had literally had nothing to do with it, I just
and what's
and
so
it
crazy?
is,
You always when you hear these stories, you never hear of the driver ever getting killed or anything. It's always the person that hit, which is
right.
always pisses me off too. It's
Yeah.
like you're the one out being stupid, but you take somebody else's life that was
Yeah.
had nothing to do with anything. It's like,
Yeah, I know. It's just aggravating, so
so is life. So I mean,
yeah, but not to, like I say, not to gloss over any of the guys who just passed on, but we don't want to linger on it too much, but at the same time
right.
we want to make sure that we pass along the news, and we show proper respect to the lives, the careers, and everything
Hmm.
else. So, and like I say, I had never heard of Mark Philbrandt and Glorified before that, so it's kind of a fucked up way to kind of discover the band.
Right.
But at the same time, we weren't gonna. I At least I felt anyway that we should have at least get the word out there.
Hmm.
So there you go. So that's like I say, that way too many, a hell of a lot more deaths than we would definitely
Hmm.
like to report on. But like Jason just
Well,
said, that's life sometimes. So
it was that way in the entertainment industry period this week. I think it's just like crazy, but
yeah, oh yeah, true.
if you hadn't heard the voice of Batman, Kevin Conroy, he passed away, and then
Yep.
the comedian Gallagher, he passed away. So definitely some entertainment losses as well this week. So. Oh, Chris froze up. All right. Oh man. Well, I'll give him a minute to catch up here. So, yeah. All right. 'Cause I kind of wanted to do this story while he was on here because we talked about this a few times, but I'll wait till he comes back to talk about that one. First story, I guess this is carried over from last week from Blabbermouth. Judas Priest singer Rob Halford spoke to Mark Strigle of Sirius XM's Oxy's Boneyard about his just released book, Biblical Rob Halford's Heavy Metal Scriptures. In the follow up to his 2020 autobiography, Confess, Halford runs his lively eye over all facets of the hard rock history and the heavy metal world via bite sized reflections, opinions, and memories in scores and scores of areas, all linked by a biblical theme. Speaking about how the idea for biblical came about, Rob said, I had so much with Confess and co writer Ian Gittins, who's my guy. I just sit and talk, and he does all the hard work putting it all together, all in the manuscript sense. So we finished Confess, and much like everything that we do in the creative sense, I had already had like a little idea for the next book to make. And I said, Ian, can we be blasphemous? He said, yes, we can be blasphemous. I said, can we take the Bible? Uh, can we take the beautiful Bible and take sections of the Bible like Revelations and Temptations and and, and this and that and the other and utilize it in a way to take everyone through a story of my life in music, but from a different angle, not the autobiographical sense. Let's talk about what you've got to do to make things happen, to make the connections, to get the record deal, to get the managers, to get the accountants, to get the lawyers, all that stuff. And he did a marvelous job amongst all of the many anecdotes that we put together for biblical to make what he's working on it. So he did a marvelous job amongst many of the anecdotes that we put together for biblical to make what I think is a really cool, funny, interesting book full of the inside stories, which you may be interested in learning about how the machine works, how the rock and roll machine works. Halford went on to praise Gittins further, saying he's great. He's a researcher. He pulls his stuff from all these different resources. Once you put a light on in my head, the lips start flapping. So relieve that through my sobriety. I thought I had lost so much of this stuff in those murky years, but he was able to get me through that time, which we included in the book. So yeah, we didn't miss anything. We didn't cut any corners. The difficulty came when we sent all these hundreds of thousands of words to the publisher, and then the editing team goes in. I'm like, you cannot take that out. That's got to stay in. So we had quite a bit of material left over for the right reasons. That's why editors edit. So we're utilizing that in another project that we'll be talking about later on this year. He added, apparently referring to the biblical Rob Halford's heavy metal scriptures. That book is out now. If you want to check that out, you can pick that up at wherever you can buy books. So something beeped. I don't know what it was. Oh man. Then I will switch over here to Metal Sucks. If you're a horror fan, I guess you're pretty much up to date with the movie Terrifier 2, which has been getting a lot of mainstream reactions and media attention. So, but there's no bloodier horror movie on the menu this year than Terrifier 2. The extreme slasher starts Art the Clown, a resurrected clown serial killer who delights in torturing and killing his victims in some pretty creative and fucked up ways. Made on a very low budget of $250,000, Terrifier 2 features some of the grossest practical effects you've seen on the big or small screen. Metal and pro wrestling fans had an extra treat with a cameo from Chris Jericho. In a new interview with Screen Rant, the Fozzy frontman said, damn, say that fast 3 times. Wow, Fozzy frontman. Fozzy frontman said that he was just a huge fan of the original Terrifier, which led him to connecting with writer and director Damian Leon, which led to part in the movie, which you can watch now on YouTube and other places. You can see that little trailer. The Painmaker scene is very, very tame compared to literally anything else in Terrifier 2, but that didn't stop him from wanting to puke while filming it. In the film, I have to eat like a zombie platter. It's Halloween, so my wife has made all these zombie treats, and one of them was a jellied eyeball, and I think it was kind of custard with some kind of almost the plastic candy, and I had to eat like 5 of them, and they were cold and they were gelatinous. And it was really kind of getting to me. It was really, really gross. And I remember Damien was like, "Can you eat just one more?" And I was like, "Dude, I'll eat one more and then that's it because I'm going to fucking puke if I have to do another one of these." As far as other puke-worthy scenes, one immediately came to Jericho's mind, and I have to agree. My jaw was on the floor the entire time. Well, I mean, obviously, there's the famous one from the original Terrifier with the hacksaw. How do you beat that? Well, he beat that in a couple of them, but one for sure, of course, is the skinning scene, shall we say. And I remember when I read the script, just the fact of this poor girl, not to spoil anything, but you know what happens. It's so vicious and violent, and then Art even pulls out bleach and salt. That one was really bad. If you want to test your stomach, Terrifier 2 is on Screenbox, and you can check out Jericho's little cameo there. So.
Yeah,
Hey, Chris is back.
AT&T, you can suck a dick. But a couple of my coworkers were talking about those 2 movies. You know, those particular scenes in, you know, especially, you know, the hacksaw scene from the first one, and then the bleach and salt scene from the second one. So,
yeah, it's pretty crazy that they're like getting that kind of attention from a low budget movie like that, which is really, really interesting. I guess you don't have to have millions of dollars to make a terrifying horror film. So
apparently you don't. From what I understand, you absolutely do not. So
yeah, I don't know if I don't know how much you heard from the first story, but I was talking about Judas Priest. Rob Halford had a new book out called Biblical.
I heard about it coming out. I didn't know it had been released yet.
Yeah, it just got released. I think last week.
Okay, well that's good. Well, that's good. Yeah,
So
I
that's
totally miss you reading that story. So
yeah. I kind of skipped around because there was one that I definitely wanted your take on because we've talked about a lot of it before.
oh,
So
okay, all right, yeah.
so
So
I wanted to make sure you were back before I covered that one. So
yeah. So sorry for the technical difficulties there, everybody. If you've watched this show before, you guys know by now that my Wi-Fi is not the best. So I still haven't been able to afford the upgrade yet. So that's something I'm going to
well,
be looking
I
at down the
jinxed you.
road.
That's
So.
what happened. I jinxed you from Bob's show. So
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it is kind of ironic that with as inconsistent as my Wi-Fi is, I actually had to help my brother with his show on Wednesday. So but
doesn't he have the same internet? I think he was talking about he had the same internet, right?
I'm not 100% sure.
I
I'd
think
have
he
to.
was. I think he was saying. I think he was
He,
saying the same thing. He's got AT&T, and I was like, well,
yeah, he probably has I don't know if he has the same plan as me, but I'm sure he probably has the same ISP. But that's something I'm hoping to look into. It hopefully no later than the year 23. So hopefully by then. So. But yeah, it's just so irritating because I was just sitting here not even doing anything and just went
yeah.
so okay. All right. So this is one of the ones that kind of held on to because of, like I say, with the appearance of Hext on the show last week. But anyway, over at Metal Injection, for whatever stupid and selfish reasons people do this type of shit, and this is something that we have reported on this show many times. Someone stole the agonist vocalist Vicky Sarakis' stage clothes from the backstage of the event hall West Park GmbH in Ingolstadt, Germany. So if you're in the area and happen to see some of the below clothing, and I'll throw the pictures up there in just a second, or you happen to know anything about the theft, reach out to the band. Quote, this is a very unfortunate post. Last night, our singer, Vicky Sarakis' custom-made stage clothes were stolen from our backstage after our performance. This happened in Ingolstadt, Germany at the venue Event Hall West Park GmbH. We are, of course, furious about this, and we could use your help. If anyone sees them for sale or has any leads on their whereabouts, please send us a direct message. We have no idea why someone would do this. This is why proper security and backstage credentials are required to keep performing artists safe. Again, please message us if anyone has any information in regards to this. We would appreciate it. End quote. So, and let me see if I can get the story to refresh so I can put the fucking pictures up there on stage. But again, it's just it's so damn frustrating. So this is the article of clothing in question. So, which I'll admit is pretty badass. But I mean, it's not yours. Keep your hands off of it. So, so yeah, any of you guys over there in Germany specifically, Europe in general, who knows how fast this shit travels and
True.
all this other stuff. And like I say, it's been a couple of weeks ago, so who knows where this
Probably
thing
already
could
been sold, and telling where it's at. So.
probably. So, but I mean, you see this article of clothing, get it back to the band. I mean, come on. They paid to have it made for her. It's hers. Get it back to her if you guys see it. So help them out.
All right, this was a story I kind of skipped over left over from last week. This one's over from Loudwire. So, how can new bands and artists get noticed on Spotify? It's the eternal struggle in this day and age of music streaming as the primary mode of music listening. And yet, depending on how things go in the future, the struggle could get even more difficult for up and coming performers. Things are ever changing with technology, of course, and tech companies such as Spotify constantly seek new avenues to keep users' attention. But what can be done if you're a new artist, and what do you need to know about Spotify's plans for the future of its service? Did you know that Spotify and other digital service providers such as Apple Music already reach around 100,000 songs per day on their platform, and that's a lot. But do you think that number will grow or dwindle in the future? The music industry blog Music Business Worldwide recently questioned Spotify's ability to sustain at that rate, and in assessing the data, there are 5 prime takeaways when looking at the distant horizon of Spotify through the lens of a new artist. Spotify is always adding more songs. To reiterate, there's already a glut of music to compete with. Indeed, to the tune of 100,000 songs uploaded daily to Spotify and other DSPs, according to Variety. So it's already an uphill battle for new artists. Outgoing Warner Music CEO Stephen Cooper observes the complexity of being able to separate one's music from the other 99,999 tracks uploaded that day is incredibly complex and incredibly difficult. So, how does a burgeoning band or songwriter get their music some notice? The number of songs Spotify adds could grow larger. Well, more is more. What if the number of songs got even bigger? It's no stretch to think that 100,000 per day figure could be a thing of the past mere months or years from now. As music business worldwide asks what happens when 120,000 new tracks appear per day, or when possibly encouraged by AI music generation, these numbers grow to 300,000 per day or more. It's a crazy thing to consider right now, but it could very well happen. So if you think of Spotify as a sea of songs right now, just wait until it turns into an endless ocean of music. Changes might focus on video plus other content. In the future, the music on Spotify may not even be the main seller. Hey, video on Spotify is already a thing. Hell, I didn't know that.
I didn't
Well,
know that either.
I mean, I mean, you got podcasts like us and stuff on there, but not us, and not us, but like us. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, what is the service pivots hard in that direction? After all, creating video is a different ballgame than making music. And with all the songs out there on Spotify, perhaps the company would seek more discernment in the visual sphere. Universal Music exec Michael Nash says the streaming platforms right now are flooded by a tidal wave of content as millions of creators are getting access. The wild card, Spotify could go the other way. We just mentioned one of the main drawbacks for new musicians. There's too much stuff out there, and it's a lot of low quality stuff. What if Spotify culls the herd and starts curating its selection more militantly, axing underperforming songs in the process? It's something to consider because, as Nash adds, nearly 80% of this multi-million creator uploading pool has a monthly audience of less than 50 listeners. And in fact, 90% of these creators have fewer than 400 monthly listeners. He continues that's 400 monthly listeners out of an audience of over 400 million on Spotify. That means 90% of these uploaders are engaging less than a 1 millionth of the platform. These are hobbyists that are playing to an essentially empty house. Podcast, the music of the future. Podcast, the arch enemy of music in the audio world. Just kidding, of course. It's still, when you think about it, every second someone spends listening to a podcast, and 1 second they're not listening to music. In 2022, Spotify introduced a new ad format called Call to Action Cards that focus on podcast listeners. Clearly, Spotify sees the category as something to ramp up, but could podcast one day just take over? In the end, who knows what the future holds? If you're an artist, how does your music perform on Spotify? And are you concerned about the state of music streaming? Keep your head up and keep waging the creative battle for your music to be heard. And reach out to Metalheads Unite because that's what we're here for. So
That's right. Yeah.
we'll promote it whether they
Yeah.
do or not. So
We'll definitely do our best. I mean, like we've said before, I mean, we would love for this to be our full-time job, and whether that ever happens, I mean, who's to say? I mean, I can sit here and say I don't see that happening, but at the same time, I also didn't expect to be, like Jason has said, 2 years into this, come to find out that we're getting 2 million listeners a week. It's like, I mean, what the actual hell is going on?
so
Uh,
just to step in real quick, there's another big announcement that kind of goes along with that, and I'll do that after we get right before we get into hitting the road. How about that?
okay, yeah, that's fine. So if I inadvertently stole your thunder there, I
No,
apologize.
you didn't. So
Oh, okay, all right,
because you didn't know about this one, so it was kind of I was on Politishock on Thursday, and a lot of stuff kind of got towed to me because I was actually in there, and I'm part of the VOP family. So
right,
Dan
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Dan kind of shared some stuff out there, so he told me to pass it on. So that's what I'm doing. So.
Okay, so yeah, but yeah, so I mean, obviously, when we started this, we had like, at the time, what we thought were like kind of like, pipe dreams, in an ideal world this, in an ideal world that, and
Yeah.
the funny thing is as we sit here doing this show now, I mean, some of the stuff we talked about has already happened to us, so I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we've been blown away by the response and everything else, and like I say, we appreciate you guys, so much, but but as we've talked about before, our focus isn't necessarily on, like Metallica. They don't really need our help. They're doing fine on their own.
Right.
But like the bands that we've had, like the bands that we've had on the show, they've had good followings in the areas where they are. We've had a couple band, Hexed, we had them on the show last week. They're from Sweden. They're doing well in
Mm-hmm.
Scandinavia.
Yep.
Same thing with the Deface. They're doing well in Scandinavia. Both bands are from Sweden. We've had 3-4 bands on the show from the northeastern
Mm-hmm.
region of this country, and they're doing fairly well in their part of the country. But our mission, I guess, is to get bands like that more attention, like even Hidden Intent. I'm sure they've got quite the following in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
but Australia is a continent that's like hours and hours away from everybody
Right.
else. Thankfully the internet has made the world a smaller place, which is good because it makes it easier for us to do this. But, at the same time, those kind of bands are our focus. And, those kind of bands, I mean, granted, their numbers aren't as low as the guy was talking about in the story. I mean, none of the
Right.
bands that we've had on the show have had like 40 monthly listeners or some shit like that,
Right.
So
Yeah,
the numbers haven't been quite that low, but I actually have seen some artists who have numbers that low.
right.
And, so we're doing everything we can to get the bands that we think deserve to be bigger more attention. So that's our
And
focus.
so let me kind of feed off that a little bit. So we've reached out to bands that we think should be more, more known as well that have not gotten back to us. So we're,
Mhm.
so that, not saying they won't make it or whatever, but we could have boosted you a little, So
Mhm.
if you didn't take advantage of that, then that's kind of, you know, that was your prerogative. So,
Yeah.
but
And and
the hand was reached out and the invitation was open. So,
yeah.
so we like I said, we reach out to numerous bands. So,
Mhm.
um, it's
Certain bands more than once.
well, yeah, yeah, and then certain bands we've reached out to the wrong people, evidently. So
Yeah. Yep, that has happened too.
so hopefully that interview comes along pretty soon.
I
That'd
I
be awesome.
I I
It's,
think I
it's
think it will.
it,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
think it
looking
will.
like it looking like it's coming together. So,
Mhm.
so
But the
oh, he froze
talk
again.
to they at least real
Oh man,
Oh, hang on. Hang on. Oh, am I back?
yeah, you was max headroom and freezing. So,
Yeah, that's uh but anyway, I'm not exactly sure what everybody heard or didn't hear, but I was just saying before I realized that my signal was sketchy again, is that the bands that we have talked to, that the point that Jason just made is that, what we offer, and I mean, we may not be reaching billions of people, but we're still reaching a lot of people. And
mhm.
the bands that we have talked to, that point has not escaped them either. They realize that, getting getting their names out there helps, even if in the short term it helps a little bit, maybe it turns into like long-term help.
Mhm.
So that's what's cool, is like the bands that we've talked to, they've been appreciative, they've been down
Yeah.
to earth, but they also realize what we are trying to do for bands like them.
Well, the thing is how do you learn about most bands that you know about? It was word of mouth. It wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
somebody said, "Oh, did you see that new video on YouTube?" Or somebody, "Hey, check out this new song on Spotify." I mean, not
Mm-hmm.
not nowadays. That's how it was. Back in the day, it was like, "Hey, did you hear this, man?" You actually went to like Tower Records or somewhere like that and put a headphone on and listened to a track or two before you bought an album. Uh, so
Yeah.
it's. I mean, there's always ways to get your music out there, and like I said, word of mouth is the best way. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we talk about concerts on this show a lot that we went to, and then a lot of times some of the openers that we go to we never heard of, and it's like, oh wow. I mean, when we went to the Angela Sapatrita show, they were the only band we knew when we went there. So, so,
Yeah.
so and then we had, the other four bands that were there were actually, I was like, man, I was pretty impressed. So, so then we
Mm-hmm.
come and talk about, Hidden Intent happened to be one of those bands. So,
Yep.
they liked him so much. We talked to them at the show, and he said, yeah, reach out when we get back into this, back home, and we'll set something up. And that's kind of where it happened. So,
Yep.
uh,
So yeah, and Dana from Metal and Tats will definitely back us up on this. Go to some of the smaller shows. Go see some of the local bands. You never know who you're going to find, and
right.
you never know what those bands are going to turn into, because everybody started somewhere. Like we said before, Metallica's first show was at a fucking skating rink.
Yeah,
So
with Rat. So,
yeah, so you never know who you're gonna meet, who you're gonna listen to, and then what that band may turn into in the future. So it's not, and trust me, we go to plenty of arena shows and all this other stuff. So I mean, obviously we have the big bands that we like. Jason, he goes to festivals, but he watches the big names, and he watches the up and comers, just as much. So
yeah. Yeah, it was.
it's basically it really is up to us who ends up, us as, not us as the podcasters, but it's up to us as the music consumers and as the fans, who's going to determine who are the next big names.
That's that what you just say kind of goes to a headline I'm going to read later too. Kind of pissed me off. So, so,
Okay, all right.
so we'll save that anger for later.
Okay, sure.
I don't even remember. Was it you or me? I can't even remember whose time it was.
So, yours.
Okay, I couldn't remember. So
I think we'll just go with it. Go ahead.
Or did I just read the? No, I was just reading the Spotify story. That's right.
Oh, that's right. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. All right, so let's see.
Well, I don't want to run dry because I know you probably got more stories than I do. So
I have one, two. I have 4 left. None of them are super duper long though. But
all right, well, we're about right
staying
there
over,
together. Then, so.
yeah, staying over at Metal Injection. If you need to get violently caffeinated, Cannibal Corpse has you covered. The band has just introduced their new beheading and brewing coffee made in collaboration with Concepts Cafe. Better yet, the bag features artwork done by longtime Cannibal Corpse artist Vincent Locke to really kick your ass into gear in the morning. Pre-orders for the coffee are available here, and obviously there's a hyperlink in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, when the guys said they wanted the most killer coffee on the planet, they spared no expense and took no shortcuts to bring this maniacal beast to life. A year went into this project, cupping beans from around the world, tuning down to a diabolical roast level, and custom artwork from the legendary artist Vince Locke himself. The organic Bali Blue Moon is the premium bean with tasting notes of black licorice, vanilla, and cedar that will liquefy your brain. The roadie's choice, this roast is a smooth brew, hot or cold, and keeps the neck cranking to the blast beats all the way through the encore. So brutal, you might just have to buy 2 and keep 1 for the record collection, or send as the most epic gift ever. If you love the most extreme metal, then you must drink the most extreme coffee. And the only thing I could think of the whole time was the fucking Duncan Hill's coffee ad from fucking Death Clock.
Yeah, I actually remember that episode.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it as much as you did, but I do remember that.
Yeah, yeah. But here is there's the picture of the fucking bag.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Cannibal Corpse has been known for their artworks. I mean,
yes, they have. Yeah.
Even if I don't listen to their stuff, I guarantee you, if they came out with an album this year, we would be talking about their cover. So.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. Here's another picture, and then there's the back.
Oh wow.
Liquefy your brain.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, that's very, very cool.
All right, so this one is over from Metal Sucks. So this story was interesting to me because I never I guess I looked at it from a different perspective when I was reading this. I was like, because it kind of hit me. It was like I could see like how this would affect somebody But I'll read the story and then we'll kind of talk about it. But
Okay.
so back in the 80s, metal was going through a strange yet extremely compelling time. On one side, you had bands seeking to be the fastest and heaviest they could ever be, with the big four leading the charge. Yet on the other side, you had Motley Crue, Poison, and other glam metal bands racing up the charts and hogging all the airtime on MTV, making money hand over fist the entire time. Well, for Rob Halford, who at that point had been in the metal scene since 1969, the transition from machismo to mascara was a strange one. And that strangeness, he said in a recent interview with Ultimate Classic Rock, was compounded even further by the fact that Halford was a closeted gay man who was afraid of ever coming out at that time. So when you think about the glam rock movement, what it was specifically, two bands that really pushed that for me were Motley Crue and Poison, and to some effect, Cinderella, maybe like Winger, LA Guns. Well, no, Winger was kind of more of a I guess it was kind of dad rock is what you would call it, I guess. But it was hey come watch my kids and I'll sleep with you later kind of thing. But
She's only
it seemed like every
17.
song was like that from Winger for some reason.
It seemed like it, yeah.
You kind of like not to get off subject, but you kind of don't make your if you got ever accused of something like that, you don't make your case very good for yourself when you're singing songs like that. So,
yeah.
Just like I was just talking to my daughter about Danny Masterson, he was in all that stuff. And then I was rewatching The Ranch while we were working the other night, and he was making some comments on that show, and I'm like, yeah, if they ever like go back and use this as evidence, he's fucking done for, because he made some pretty cruel comments about younger women on that show. But anyway, back to the story. There was a lot of stuff coming through at the moment in the glam rock era, and definitely Sebastian Bach, then Skid Row singer. When guys look like girls, and that worked. And I never could quite figure that out because of the homophobic stuff that was going on in the '80s. And there's all these guys with makeup on looking. I have to watch my words here, but you know what I'm saying. Looking like a bitch. That's what they're looking like. I mean, when I bought that first Poison, I seen that first Poison record. Look what the Cat Dre did. I said, "Man, who's these chicks?"
Yeah.
But looking.
Well, the funny thing is, they were all dolled up, and I think all four of them were doing like duck face and shit. It's like,
yeah.
And you just wonder, and you just wonder, it's like, how the hell how did this work? How did this ever work? But it did.
Looking in a specific way that everybody else is like, yeah, man, they're really hardcore and all that kind of stuff. And then me as a closeted gay man is like, am I missing something here? How am I not able to come out for fear of losing my career and my band? But these guys are going out there looking like they do, and everybody's falling all over them. Not everybody, but just the general perception of the imagery was just everybody has to look that way. Everybody has to dress that way. It was a remarkable time in heavy metal and rock to think about in a broader sense. And I love those guys while we're talking. I must get the message across that I love these guys. I love their music. I love what they achieved and everything. They're very, very important. And maybe there was a sense of opportunity within the LGBTQ community because these guys were then doing what they did. Maybe they opened a tiny little chink in the door for acceptance, because a lot of the guys used to go to the shows looking like that. One of my friends here in Phoenix in the 80s used to put the makeup on and the hair and everything. They would look like that, and then they would go out to see these bands. So in terms of the anthropological aspect, the social connection between looking like that and it being cool and accepted without any pushback was quite remarkable. It's a really interesting part of that time in heavy metal, and I included myself, not entirely in that respect, but if you look at Priest's Turbo album, you look at the way we were look at the way Glenn Tipton's got his hair, and Ken KK Downing, then Priest guitarist, got his hair. We were all in the same melting pot, really. The 80s was a remarkable time for metal, glam rock, whatever you want to call it. The visual presentation was extraordinary. Halford eventually came out as a gay man during a 1998 appearance on MTV News. These days, we couldn't imagine ever turning away the metal god for his sexual orientation, and luckily, metal embraced him after he came out. Still, it must have been hard seeing all these popular bands cosplaying and dressing in women's clothing, while Halford was afraid to be outwardly and be open about his reality.
Hmm.
So, and I get that, man. Like, I never like kind of, I never put that together until I read the story, and I'm just like, dude, that probably would have been hard for a closeted gay man to be like, oh, well, these guys can go out and dress like girls, and like that's good, but I can't say, hey, I'm gay. like, uh,
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, I kind of get that, man. I had to be rough for him. So, uh,
Yeah, it's definitely especially at the time, it would have been like a cruel irony for him to have to sit back there, to sit back and watch that go on, and
mhm.
like he said, wondering what's going to happen when I finally, because I don't know it, what when he had that planned. I don't know if he just decided to come out in '98. Was like, all right, this is going to be the day. I don't know if that was something he planned or what. I mean, I
I mean,
remember it, but so you never
you
know
think
what
'98? They've been around for almost 2 decades at that point. So
they had been. Yeah.
so you think maybe at that point they probably had a publicist saying, okay, you're good. Just I mean, people around the world's doing it already. Just do it.
Hmm. Yeah.
I
So
mean, there was people that were in music that we already. I mean, you look at Boy George. There's no way in hell you looked at that guy and been like, oh yeah, he's straight. I
yeah,
mean, we've seen stuff on
yeah.
MTV that we were just like, George Michael. There was never a point in my life where I thought that guy was a straight man. Uh,
Right.
but
Yeah.
but the thing with Rob was that I seen a documentary about Priest and Glenn, and then we're talking about, well, hell, he took girls to his bus and shit. We didn't know. I mean, it's like
Hmm.
he did it for imagery. So
Right.
and
Well, he
and the bad thing is Rob. It's sad that Rob had to do those things, or thought he had to do those things, to make himself not feel out of place. But
yeah, to keep up appearances. Yeah.
yeah, that's unfortunate, man. Because like I said, you can't deny Rob Halford's one of the most iconic voices in metal. I mean, it's never going to.
Oh no, you absolutely
That's
cannot.
um, the only flaw he has is not for giving Tim Ripper Owens the credit where his credit's due, but it's
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
but
Because
anyway.
I remember watching the behind the music episode
Mhm,
about that, and that whole segment of the show where they talked about him coming out and everything else, and the reaction that he got, which was predominantly positive and embracing and
mhm.
all that and accepting and all that. And I remember, I can't remember which one of the other band members was talking about it. He's like, it may have, like I say, I can't remember, but he when they were asking him about it, he was like, hell, we were surprised that so many people's surprised by it, because I mean, hell, we went out dressed
Right,
in
it
leather
wore
and fucking
leathers. Yeah,
rhinestones every night, and then when he came out, everyone was so surprised. And it was like, he was almost like advertising it every night.
it was true.
And then
Yeah.
and then I don't know if you remember like the very first music video that they had back in 1974.
Mhm,
When they, well, technically it wasn't a music video, but their first live performance over there in the UK on that
mhm.
of Rockarola.
Oh yeah,
He was wearing like a pink blouse
yeah.
in that video. It's like,
Mm.
yeah. So I mean, the writing was on the wall really from the
It,
beginning, but
I mean, and two, you think about. I mean, I think Freddie Mercury probably came out long before that. So I mean, you would think that would have kind of gave a
probably
gateway to you know that sort of thing because uh, you really can't tell anymore about somebody's mannerisms because you
that's
know
true.
I've been busted for that before, because I was kind of tiptoeing around some stuff with a guy, and I'm just like, I don't want to say anything that would make him think that I'm interested in him or anything because, what I'm saying. So I
Mhm.
know,
Right.
but come to find out, he's married and got 4 kids, so you just don't never know about
Right.
it. So I mean,
Yeah.
then two people get married and out of like I said, out of imagery,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
which is unfortunate too, because then you're affecting somebody else. If you're gay, you're gay. I mean, don't go out and try to prove something you're not by
Hmm.
by
Yeah.
by marrying an opposite sex person and ruining their lives. So because it's not going to work because you're not where you belong for one, and two, it's not going to be a mutual relationship. So
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
yeah. So,
thankfully,
and like I said, we don't have to worry a lot about that this day and time because I mean, it's pretty much,
I
it's pretty much like
I was yeah I
somebody
was
says they're gay. I'm like, yeah, yeah. It's like,
right.
okay,
Yeah. So it's like,
all
yeah,
right.
well, hey,
Yeah,
good for you, man. Go live your
yeah,
life.
it ain't like
Yeah. So I
80,
mean,
85. It's like, oh, Rob Hammer's gay. What? No shit. It's like,
yeah. Yeah.
now it's just kind of like an everyday
Yes.
thing. I'm like, yeah, okay. So,
Yeah. So thankfully society today, for all its faults that it does still have, thankfully, like you said, something like that isn't news anymore, really. I mean, it's just
well, there was always
not
a
that,
saying. I mean, there's always been a saying to each their own. I mean, it's been there for
works for me.
centuries. It's not like it's
Yeah, works
something
for me.
new. To each their own. I mean, it's like you can't.
Yeah.
I'm not a higher power, God, whatever you believe in. I'm not. I don't judge you. So that's not my job. So my job is to provide you with new
Mm-hmm.
heavy metal music. So.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
our place to
like I
judge
said,
until, and
it's
it's it's not our place to judge until we get to the album review segment.
yeah, right, yeah, there you go. That is true. Oh, I got headlines from
Okay,
last week
okay.
too. Damn.
Oh well, shit. I mean, we'll read through those two.
Yeah,
All right,
I'm gonna
let's
read through the stories
see.
first. I don't have a lot of stories this week, so I only have the 2, 3. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, here's another one left over from last week. Over at the PRP, industrial metalcore outfit Motionless in White have landed their first gold single in the United States. The song "Another Life" from the band's 2019 album Disguise is the first to bring them home some hardware, having newly been certified gold by the RIAA on October 27th. Sorry. If you missed it, the Scranton, PA-based metalcore outfit are ringing in Halloween today. Obviously not. With the debut
Right.
of their werewolf music video, you can find it here. Of course, go to YouTube, you'll find it. So congratulations to Motionless in White on that.
Yeah. So what's the gold again?
Gold is 500,000, platinum's $1 million.
Yeah, and that's like is that through like sales or
That's what it is. That's what it is in this country.
okay? So they don't go by like the media like the
Yeah, what they do,
like
and I
Pandora and Apple
and I
Music and
yeah
Spotify,
they have a
YouTube, and
well actually they take in, well I don't know about the YouTube, I don't know about that, but I do know that
but they should. It's a listen though. I mean,
they
it's
should, and they might,
it's
but
yeah.
they still might, but I just closed the story, but anyway, the I believe the formula is obviously every physical copy counts as one. And
Right.
then I think the way they do it is like every 1,500 streams counts as one, and I think every certain amount of like digital downloads counts as so. I mean, there are equations that they use, and like I say,
So we'll put it this way: this is how behind they are then, because Another Life on Spotify has 95,220,286 listens.
Yeah.
So 1,500 just got to be more than that.
Yeah. Well, the 15, like I say, 1,500. Let me see if I can find that story real quick, because like I say, they've always got the.
I mean, it is their biggest hit. So
yeah, they've got the math. They've got the math down there, and I should know it by now with the amount of times.
Right. And I mean, just look at Werewolf just came out, right? You said Halloween, and it's already got 5.2 million.
Yeah.
So
okay, so let's see.
That's pretty crazy.
All right, let me see. Here we go. A platinum album / single in the U.S. represents 1 million units, while gold signifies 500,000. Outside of traditional physical / digital sales, the certifications factor in digital streams and downloads, with 10 permanent track downloads counting as 1 unit, and 1,500 so they do take video streams into account.
Okay, cool.
And 1,500 on-demand audio video streams from a particular album also counting in as a unit.
Well, they're like I said, they're masked way off then. So
yeah.
So
Well,
they,
then,
so,
well,
so
then
what
it'll
they're
be
so
well,
what they're so what they're saying is they've been they're behind and they're just now getting to it. So that's pretty much what.
well. What did you
And,
say?
we've talked about that before. Is like, you know, some records and stuff we know is like been way more than that. And I was like, man, they hit that
Yeah, I don't.
like 3 years ago. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know why the certification
Yeah.
process
And
takes so
we was
long.
talking about the a Megadeth album that had been out for like, you know, what was it, like
Like 20
12?
some odd years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's just now hitting. Like, bullshit. There's no fucking
yeah,
way.
I know.
But
I
they
don't know what
said it was an award that should have been awarded in like 2002 or something. I'm like, damn, you're 20
something
years
like that. Yeah,
behind. Like, what the fuck?
yeah. I don't know why it takes them so long. I don't know.
They need to
I
hire
mean,
somebody
better
for
late
something.
than better. I mean, better late than never, I guess. I mean,
Well,
I
not
don't
really, because some of these
kind of
people, I
like.
mean, by the time they hit it, they're going to be gone. It's like,
Well, that's true. That's very true.
that's bullshit. I mean, you should get credit for what you're doing now. I mean,
That's true.
I mean, unfortunately for Motionless in White, that my disguise is just what, 2018, I think, something like that, 16 or 18. I can't remember, but I could look it up. But
Yeah, something like that.
yeah,
19? 19.
19. I know it wasn't
19?
very old. Yeah, 2019. Yeah,
19,
so
yeah.
I knew it was their last album before this new one that just came out. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so yeah, well, good for them though. I mean, that's definitely a great album. So
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know where you're at. I have two more. So
okay, this one's over from Loudwire's real short. But this one's actually kind of funny and interesting at the same time, I guess. So first, it was
okay.
a virtually reality headset that can kill you. Now it's a sex toy by Gore, of course. Okay, it can't literally kill you, but
well,
it looks like
well,
it can.
never say never, because I
Yeah,
actually saw this thing. So never say
yeah.
never.
It's called the cuttlefish of Tulu. The object was apparently a longtime companion of the late Odorous Arungus. For whatever reason, they've decided to sell it and partnered up with sex toy company Bad Dragon to do so. The cuttlefish of Tulu comes in a variety of sizes, ranging from small to extra large, and they compared the different sizes to that of a standard soda can. And it comes in two color variations. One is black, and the multicolor signature edition glows in the dark. The price ranges from $84.99 to $199.99, depending on the size. We're not going to get into detail about these specifications, so if you're interested, you can check out the options for yourself at guar.net. Excuse me. Guar recently seized control of the red hot phallic forges deep in the Bad Dragon lair, where legendary sex smiths work day and night to create the highest quality fantasy themed adult toys in the business. The item description reads: the result is a new monster dong for the denizens of planet Earth. Oh my god! Now you too can wield the awesome power of the winged wiener of Odorous Urangus and the cuttlefish of Tulu. On another note, Guar have been unveiled their second Knuckleheads half pint figure series, which includes Balsic, Bone Snapper, and I can't Pustulus. The set price is $45 and is expected to ship out on December 15th. You can also order those there at their website and have it in time for the holidays. So yeah, there's the damn thing. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Yeah. I don't know
I
if you
mean, it's
use
like,
that.
I don't.
If you use that, I wouldn't want you calling me in no time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do nothing for you. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen those memes on Facebook, but there's these memes of like girls holding some of this stuff that like the one I remember seeing was like this girl has like an RPG in her hand and says anything's
oh
a
my
dildo
god!
if you're brave enough.
Right, if you're brave enough, yeah. Oh my god!
And this thing is actually meant to be one. So I mean,
yeah, which is crazy. That thing
so
kind
I
of
mean,
weird.
there you
It's
go.
weird looking. I don't know. Like, teach their own.
To each their own. Exactly. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go back to Blabbermouth for this one. And our guest from last week ought to appreciate this one. On November 17th, Skid Row will perform at Avicii Arena in Stockholm, Sweden, as part of a special event celebrating 100 years of Swedish ice hockey. During the Tidernäs Hockey Gala event, Swedish ice hockey's great successes will be celebrated, classic moments will be revisited, and the greatest heroes of hockey history will be honored. In addition, a specially composed jury consisting of former players, managers, as well as journalists will select prestigious awards. Earlier today being November 10th, so this came out a couple days ago. Earlier today, Skid Row's Swedish-born singer Eric Gronwall, who joined the band in January, took to his social media to share a photo of Skid Row's current lineup, and he included the following message. Quote, these guys will be flying to Sweden to perform a song at Avicii Arena on November 17th to celebrate 100 years of Swedish hockey. Skid Row played there with Guns N' Roses back in the day, and I won Swedish Idol in that same arena. Another full circle. The show will be aired live on SVT. End quote. Gronwall went from auditioning for the competition show Swedish Idol back in 2009 by singing a cover of 18 in Life to being asked to front Skid Row earlier this year. Eric, who was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in March 2021, reflected on his journey in a recent interview with 80s Metal Recycle Bin. He said, quote, I wouldn't call myself a religious man, but I would call myself, after all of this, I'm way more spiritual. I'm like, okay, who planned this? I was on my way to a completely different life before my diagnosis, but it was kind of like someone just nudged me. I was scrolling on Instagram a couple of days ago, and I just saw a post, and it was a text saying, I'm sorry I had to make you uncomfortable, but I had to make you move. God. And I was like, oh, fuck, man. That's what it feels like. I'm not sure if everything happens for a reason, but that's the only way I can explain this. Getting leukemia, then ending up in my favorite band, he continued. So I mean, congratulations to him for that. But yeah, so and then that's cool. Him being from Sweden and then
Right.
being in his favorite band and then to be able to perform at that, at that ice hockey celebration.
Well,
And
it's like
let me tell you, I know you don't. I know you don't follow hockey anywhere as close as I do, but the amount of legendary hockey players that have come out of Sweden, that's a long goddamn list. Let me tell you. So
yeah. That's just one of the stories that the road is never paved without some loose gravel. So
that's right.
So
That's right.
always hit some loose gravel along the way. But fortunately
Mhm.
for him, he's gotten to do. He's pretty much living his dream at this point right now. So
Yeah, good for him.
yeah, good for him. Yeah. I will say this, it's not Sebastian Bach, but it does sound a lot better than the previous Skid Row stuff. So, I'm just saying. But, yeah, like I said, we go back to Rob. I mean, Sebastian Bach has one of those iconic voices. I mean, it's just, you know,
hmm
unfortunately, if that's the Skid Row you're in love with, you're not going to ever find that Skid Row again. Unfortunately, so
Right. Yeah, you're
maybe
not.
maybe at some 40th or 50th anniversary thing, maybe I don't know, but
I don't know, man.
I
I
don't
don't
see him
know.
ever. I don't see him ever getting back with Sebastian.
I
He's a wild person. So,
yeah.
but
Everything that
but I did see an interesting thing a couple weeks ago where he patched everything up with Stephen Sweet. So
I did see that.
you never know. Or Robert Sweet, was it
Yeah,
Robert Sweet?
Michael Sweet.
Oh, Michael Sweet. Okay, there's too
Yeah,
many of
from
them
Striper.
motherfuckers.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, from
there's,
Striper. Yeah.
I knew it was one of the Sweets.
Yeah. It was Michael.
There's a lot of
But
them
yeah, I
motherfuckers.
mean, yeah, there is. But I mean, yeah, you can never say never, but at the same time, you still read stuff between him and Rachel Bolan, and
Right. Yeah.
they are not cool with each other.
Well, that happens a lot, and we'll get to that. We'll get to another story kind of like that in a minute. So,
Yeah.
this was over from Loudwire. Music biopics have become one of the most popular type of movie to make over the last several years, with more being announced for different artists every few months. Which the deal just came out. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I've been wanting to check that one out myself. But
Yeah, I do need to see that.
we know there's one about Ozzy Osbourne underway, and he recently revealed who he does and does not want to portray him in it. The Prince of Darkness has had quite a wild ride so far, so we can anticipate that a movie about his life will be quite entertaining. Lee Hall, who wrote the Elton John film Rocket Man, is writing the script for the upcoming project, and Osborne's eldest daughter, Amy, compiled the treatment for it. Speaking with Consequence, Osborne said he wants an unknown actor to play him in the movie, as he doesn't want anyone like Johnny Depp to land the role. The film is expected to accurately tell the story of Osborn's life and his marriage to Sharon Osbourne. Therefore, there will be some rather dark moments throughout it. I don't give a shit, Osborne declared of the movie, recounting the more sullen parts of his life. I mean, if it's a success, great, as long as it's not too slurpy and bullshitty, you know. The last time we saw Osborne portrayed in a film was in the 2019 Netflix biopic of the Dirt about Motley Crue. Tony Cavallero took the role of the 1984 era Prince of Darkness, which is when Crue went out on tour with him and reportedly snorted ants. That's very possible, but I can't remember. The rocker told GQ of the alleged incident in an interview in 2020. We'll have to wait and see what Hall has in store for the new biopic, but at the very least, we can likely expect to see him bite the head off a bat on stage. Whoever is chosen to play him has some big shoes to fill. You know, I have a suggestion. I mean, if you really want to know my suggestion here, you know, there's a guy that sings for Steel Panther that does a pretty goddamn good impression. So, and he's done some acting. So there you go. So.
That would be, oh God, that would be great. But I tell you what, the description of how he doesn't want the movie to look. I mean, if that's not slurpy and bullshitty, if that's not fucking Ozzy Osbourne to a T right there, I don't know what the fuck
right.
is. Oh man,
he don't give a shit about none of the bad stuff. He just don't. He wants it to be accurate. So I mean,
yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is he has never had an issue with owning up to the shit that he has.
Well, no. Well, I mean, hell, half the shit he don't remember. So.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah, because supposedly during that whole ant snorting thing, supposedly he licked up Nikki Sixx's piss too.
Well, yeah, I think that was pretty much a little bit of a. I mean, even Nikki and them said that they don't remember doing anything like that, but.
Yeah. So, but again,
who knows?
There
I
are
mean,
a lot of
they got the story from somewhere. I mean, it's like just saying.
Yeah. That's true. Because I mean, hell, Motley Crue was just as fucking out of their minds as Ozzy at the time.
So, well, I think that I don't think they were saying it.
High back then.
I don't think Nikki and them were saying it didn't happen. I think they were saying that was two separate incidents. Like it was like.
Well, it was on the same tour. It was on the same.
It was, but it was like it wasn't like they had it happening at the same spot, which that ain't the way it went down. But of course,
right.
You know, they didn't bust up in a fucking wedding and steal Vince Neil off the stage either. So
no,
like,
they didn't do that either. No, they did not.
So there was a lot of stuff still missing that it was not accurate in that, which I kind of felt. You know, I'm like, dude, you're telling a story, man. Just tell the fucking story. Like it's going to be great regardless because of who it is and the story. You know, you ain't got to fill it with bullshit.
Yeah,
and that's probably why he said what he said. You know, that's probably why Ozzy said
probably. And it's still that right there. It still boggles my mind because I enjoyed the Dirt. I enjoyed it.
I did,
But when I read after the fact that all four guys in the band, all four of them, the whole band, had direct. They were all four of them were consultants on the content of the movie. It's like then why was there so many things that didn't happen in the movie? I just like if it would have been me, I'd be like that didn't happen. Fuck that.
Right.
No.
Right.
I don't know. I know.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if they were just. I don't know if they were just trying to dress it up or what. But
well, I mean, that was kind of just like I was talking talking about the Rob Halford book. He was talking about when they wrote the first one. You know, editors are in there taking shit out, and he's like, "No, man, you got to leave that in." He said, "Hey, we argue more about that than anything." He's like, "No, man, you got to leave that shit in there. That's part of the story." But that's what editors. I mean, that's what they do. They edit. So
yeah, editors, and publishers, and all this other shit. Yeah,
so,
but still, I mean,
that's why he made us. That's why he did a second book, is because he can include all that in this book. So
yeah, there's that. Okay, I'm down to my last one for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm down to my last one. And I was debating on where to put this in the order of my stories, but I decided to ultimately save it for last because I'm going to say is ow. Over at the you'll see why in a minute. Over at the PRP, Entheos vocalist Cheney Crabb has spoken out at length about a motorized scooter accident she was involved in back in August of 2021.
Oh,
According to her below recounting of the incident, the injuries were quite concerning. The group's newly released single Absolute Zero was inspired by that accident and the time spent recovering from it. She said of that, quote, Absolute Zero. As some of you may already know, in August of 21, I was in a motorized scooter accident. My bottom lip tore away from my chin, my septum was flayed, and my upper lip was cut in half, exposing my teeth. My nose was severely broken and sliced up the side. The end result was plastic surgery and 100+ stitches in my face. As a result of my accident, I had no feeling in my lips or nose, some of which I still haven't regained, and my future as a vocalist was quite uncertain. While made sure within days after the accident to keep my actual voice intact, doing vocals is incredibly reliant on mouth and lip movement, and I simply did not have the ability to move either. While getting into the accident gave me a new sense of gratitude for my life and the people who I love, I was also dealing with a lot of darkness. Many nights I would wake up crying. Would my face ever look the same? Will I ever make music again? These were complete uncertainties to me at that point. Absolute Zero is the first song that I wrote after my accident. It deals directly with the despair and uncertainty that I felt at the time. What I know now is that this sense of sadness that I experienced at that moment was necessary in order for me to progress as an individual and have true gratitude for my life. It is the beginning of a journey of personal growth, of which you will know soon more about. David Brodsky, Allison Weist, and their crew at My Good Eye did an amazing job capturing the overall aggression and despair of this song in the music video. I wanted the video to feel like a mental breakdown, and they nailed it. I've been such a big fan of their work for years, and they were truly the only people who had in mind to create visuals to our music. Getting to work with them was a dream. I've never felt so comfortable making music videos, and now I have two new friends for life. So, Jillian Savage at Glam Nashville did my hair and makeup for this shoot. I'd be lying if I said that I haven't struggled a bit with my face post-accident, and Jillian made me feel so beautiful. She's incredible at what she does and brings such positive vibes with her. Jillian is also an incredible artist whose work you may recognize from the cover of Whitechapel's Kin. There you go.
Yeah.
Follow and support her.
Nice.
So yeah, ow. Ouch. Yeah. Wear a helmet, kids. Wear a helmet.
Yeah, right. Yes. I seen that story too. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, don't be like, oh man, helmets are for pussies. That she almost ground her entire face off her head. Wear a fucking helmet.
Very, very lucky to be able to able to do what she does still. So
I would say so.
Yeah, tough lady there. That's all I'm
Hell
saying.
yeah, man.
All right, my last one is over from Metal Injection. So we were just talking about feuds, and this one kind of goes back a long ways. So
I know that. Yeah, I know this story.
So it all started on the final day of Ozfest 2005 in DeVore, California, when Iron Maiden's power was cut intermittently throughout their show, and the band had eggs thrown at them. Oh, and a guy came running onto stage with an American flag and a shirt that said "Don't fuck with Ozzy" written on it. Iron Maiden vocalist Bruce Dickinson criticized Ozzy from the stage, saying he and his band would never take part in a reality show, while Sharon Osbourne came out at the end to address her gripes with Dickinson and his disrespect to her and her husband throughout the tour. To make matters clear, Sharon's statement regarding Dickinson at the time reads as follows. From day one, Bruce Dickinson started berating Ozzy and belittling the Ozfest audience. He stated he didn't need a reality show to give him credibility. We're not just some fucking reunion band, and continuously complain about the sound system, saying that when he comes back to America, he'll have a better one. So is Sharon past it 17 years later? Hell no. In an interview with Consequence, Sharon makes her feelings about Dickinson painfully clear. Sharon calls Dickinson a fucking asshole because calling him a fucking prick isn't fair, as a prick is nicer. Sharon later clarifies that she doesn't have a problem with Iron Maiden as a band, and closes by saying Ozzy is original and Bruce isn't, and that's what eats Bruce away. So yeah, hatchet far from buried. Bruce Dickinson is a fucking prick. Well, no, he's not a prick because a prick's nice. He's a fucking asshole because the situation is he was on a tour called Ozfest, and Ozzy Osbourne was paying him every night to perform. He accepted the gig. He knew what he was doing. And every night he would go on stage and say bad things about Ozzy. and the crew and everybody and all the bands would be like, "Are you letting him get away with that?" And I'm like, "I sure am." But the last gig was just outside of LA, and I thought, "You motherfucker! Now we're going to get it. Now you're going to get it." And so I had about 20 people in the audience, and a lot of them were nurses from Cedars Sinai, and because I had cancer at the time, and they were all my chemo nurses, and they all came down, and they fucking pelted the shit out of him. And the thing is, you play, you pay. And if you're going to be, and the thing is, you're going to be doing pay to do a gig, then you don't act like that. The you don't, but you don't like the person, then fuck off. But don't stay. Take the money. Take all the good things that's coming to your band throughout being on the festival, doing 24 shows, and still slagging the person that's paying you. It's like, no, that makes you a fucking asshole. And he is. And he's never apologized. He's never went up and said hello to Ozzy. Um, and the thing about him is that he is just so jealous, and he always has been of Ozzy, and that's his problem. Because the thing is about Bruce Dickinson, he's hugely successful. He's got a great fan base that have been loyal. The band are great guys, and all the bands are great, and they do great. This is almost like reading something Ozzy's writing shit. They're
I
a
know.
great, they're a great band. You can't take it away, and neither would I take that away from them. But the thing about Bruce is he is unknown to the public. I don't believe that. Bruce Dickinson could walk into anywhere and nobody would know who the fuck he is. Do you know what I'm saying?
No,
That's
that's
a
bullshit.
that's a lie.
That's
He's
that's bullshit.
he's a faceless singer to the general public. People aren't scrambling to get him for an interview, and the thing is, he's not interesting. But the thing is, Ozzy is original and Bruce isn't, and that's what eats Bruce away. And yes, of course, there's video of the incident, and the video there on Metal Ingestion doesn't show any of that shit except the fucking feeds being cut. So I was trying to watch to trying to get a better insight on the story, and no eggs being thrown. I didn't see the guy with the flag. I didn't see none of this shit. I did see Bruce talk to somebody in the front row saying he'd jump out there and beat the shit out of him. Uh,
Nice.
but yeah, so to me, I don't understand this. Like, really, I mean, it's been that long ago. It's like, who the fuck cares? But I think it's more of her hanging on to some shit because this is the thing. It's like the story that we're doing right now is her telling it. They're not going out getting Bruce to tell it because Bruce probably tell him to fuck off. It was 17 because Bruce would be like, man, that was 17 years ago. Get the fuck out of my face.
He
So
probably would. He probably
yeah,
would.
and so like and and Bruce doesn't. This is the thing about Bruce Dickinson. Bruce Dickinson does not need Iron Maiden. Like this motherfucker has done. I mean, he's an airplane pilot. He does all this other shit. He don't need to be an Iron Maiden. I mean, he does. He does it because he loves the music.
He loves it. Yeah.
And he loves heavy metal. Or I mean, we can say that about a lot of heavy metal people that they're assholes. I mean, that's whatever. I mean,
But see, I mean, but see that.
but one
That's just
incident shouldn't do. It shouldn't be like. And for her to say he's jealous of Ozzy, I don't believe that either for one fucking minute.
no, I don't think so.
I mean, it was. I don't know, man. I think this is just so. This is the thing. Like Sharon is fucking going off the deep end further than Ozzy, I think, because I read two stories. I didn't write them down the headline, but I do want to talk about it since we brought this up. Was I seen a thing where Sharon said on one site that they were talking about leaving America because they were scared of their lives for their lives or whatever. And then I read
I
another
saw that.
article.
I
And then
saw that.
then I read another article where Ozzy said, "I'd rather be in the U.S." So it's like, okay, which is it? So
Yeah, it's
I
well. I
think
mean,
I think she's more of the problem than Ozzy is at this point. But
well, I don't think it's any secret that Sharon runs the show.
well, yeah,
And like you said, you're only getting one side of this story, and it's coming from
exactly.
Sharon, and she's calling Bruce Dickinson an asshole because of the way she perceives it. But it's kind of like the same thing that women talk about, and this is going off topic a little bit, but you hear this a lot from women who are in positions of like management or power or whatever. They'll get called a bitch because they have like strong personalities. which is, I'm sure 99% of the time that's unfair. And I'm sure that Bruce Dickinson, he probably has maybe a stronger personality. And if Sharon sees that as him being an asshole, I mean, that's just her opinion of it. I'm sure,
Right.
I'm sure, I'm sure if we ever hear his side of the story, he'll say she's a cunt.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but the funny thing is I've heard more stories that kind of lend themselves to Sharon being a cunt than Bruce Dickinson being an
That's
asshole.
true. That is true.
So, but at the same time, that's everyone's perception of their side of the story. So, and like I say, Bruce has got his own legacy that extends far beyond Iron Maiden. He's got a lot of his own personal irons in the fire that he takes care of. He's got his solo spoken word tours that he goes on. Like you say, he's a commercial airline pilot. So he had music before Iron Maiden. He had music that he stepped away from while in Iron Maiden. That's why Blaze Bayley even had to come along. So I mean, Bruce Dickinson has cemented a legacy for himself that Iron Maiden is just a part of.
Right.
So, and like you say, we're talking 17 years ago. So who knows what type of person Bruce was 17 years ago?
Yeah, that's true too.
For all we know, she may be 100% right. I seriously doubt it, but she may be 100% right. Does that mean that Bruce Dickinson is still that person? Of course not. Does that mean if what Sharon says is true, that he has never apologized, that he never will? No, of course it doesn't mean that. Maybe they haven't crossed paths. And if that's the case, if Ozzy Osbourne and Bruce Dickinson have not crossed paths since 2005, you know whose fault I would be willing to bet that is? Hers.
Parents. Yeah,
hers. Because I would be willing to bet that, because you were talking about how Rob Halford wants to tour with Iron Maiden and vice versa. If you were to ask Bruce Dickinson if he wanted to tour with Ozzy Osbourne one more time before Ozzy called it quits, he would be like, "Fuck yeah, I would love to." But you're going to have to run it past Sharon, and she's probably going to say no.
Right.
So, I have a feeling that she's the roadblock in a lot of this.
Oh well, yeah, that's just what I was saying too. Is just by going by, her saying that they were scared for their lives, and Ozzy was just like, "Shit, I'd rather be in the United States." I mean, it's kind of like, so it's kind of like he says one thing, she's saying another, and it's it seems a little. They talk like a divorced couple. Just saying.
Everything that I did just say about Sharon, I mean, I will concede that if it wasn't for Sharon, Ozzy would not be here anymore.
Oh no, he'd be dead.
Ozzy, she did save his life. She really did. She pulled him out of everying, and then
she wrote his name to start him. So
yeah, no, of course she did. She did. But at the same time, if it wasn't for her, he probably would have either drank himself to death or, overdosed on something, and he would have died. And we would constantly be talking about, what if Ozzy wouldn't have died? Mm-hmm. How much good music would we have missed out on and all this other stuff. So, I mean, for all her faults, I mean, she has allowed, and I hate to say that, but I mean, that's pretty much how it is. I mean, she has allowed Ozzy to do the things that he did. But I mean, Ozzy, almost by his own admission, has basically needed a babysitter his whole life. Because I mean, left to his own devices, he was never good for himself by himself.
Well, true.
So, but at the same time, I still think she kind of abuses the privilege.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So,
all right. So I guess we can talk about these other headlines here. These were left. Some of them left. Do you want to go? Get my tongue twiddle.
Got to practice your gutturals.
Yeah. We'll do the Howard Stern thing.
I sincerely hope no one was sitting on their speaker just then. But hey,
if they were, you're welcome.
Do you? Yeah.
Anyway, the other headlines, these were from leftover from last week, so there's a lot of Halloween stories in this one. So, but these were from last week. John Bush thinks it would be cool to do some shows covering his time in Anthrax, which, hey,
Agreed.
Anthrax doing it, Armored Saint doing it, who gives a shit? I'd love to hear it. So,
Agreed.
uh, and actually,
I still think Anthrax and Armored Saint should go on tour.
that would be fucking great. Oh man, I'm down. Let's get in here and make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Then Sammy Hagar on retirement, he said, "I will never announce a farewell tour." And this is like Sammy's one of the like most respected guys in music, and I think this is wise because you never say never. And I said that when I supposedly people still say I retired from wrestling. I never retired. It was more of a farewell match I had.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we called it. It was a farewell match. But it was not a retirement match because it was just pretty much like, hey, I'm taking time off to do other things, and if wrestling comes back into my life, then I'll do stuff here and there, which I have. I've done a show earlier this year, so so it's never out of the question. I think when you get something in your blood like that, it's like hard to ever say no when it comes back around. I get offers, pretty much on a weekly basis to do something associated with wrestling. And a lot of times I'm like, yeah, I just don't have time for that because, this is my thing now. I love talking about metal music and discovering new bands and all that. I mean, this is my thing, so this comes first before, wrestling. But, if I can do something that doesn't interfere with this, then yeah, fine. But until
and
that time,
then, and besides, you never took your boots off and left them in the ring anyway. So
no, I didn't. So, all right. Anyway, the next Lacuna Coil album could arrive in late 2023. So just more new music to look forward to in 2023. I guess hopefully it's better than the last one, but because they kind of owe us one too.
I would say so.
Then Zach Wilde on playing Dimebag's parts on the Pantera tour, he said, "No matter what I do, it's going to sound like Zach Wilde, so not Dimebag." So, and I kind of get that. I mean, I think if anybody's going there to the impression that it's going to sound exactly like Dimebag, they're going to be disappointed. So, I think you have to. I think you have to go into this with an open ear and an open mind. So.
It's still going to be done with respect. That's the most important thing, is that it's done with respect, and those four guys are going to do that.
Well, I mean, we know Zach Wilde's, we know exactly how he felt about Dime. I mean, hell, he wrote a fucking song about him. So I mean, it's like you don't do that without having some feelings for a guy, So. Then Metallica's James Hetfield dressed up as Stranger Things Eddie Munson for Halloween. Talk about
he did.
Talk about giving back. That's pretty funny.
Oh shit.
Then Armored Saints official documentary Band of Brothers is coming soon. Some more Armored Saint news there. Cool.
There you go.
Slipknot's Corey Taylor says he started writing his first novel a year ago, so I guess we can look forward to seeing a Corey Taylor book soon. That'd be kind of interesting. Another Sammy Hagar news. He said he's reached out to Alex Van Halen 5 times, but he won't return his call or emails, and he's really like wanting to do a show for Eddie. So
yeah.
So and Alex is just like, fuck this, I'm done, I guess. But
which does seem strange.
Yeah, it does, because I think Michael Anthony's even been on board with this. So
yeah,
it's kind of strange that Alex has just kind of like, fuck it, I'm not doing it. But I don't even know who they would get to play guitar to do any of that. But I mean, I'm sure he could, Steve Vai or somebody. I'm sure, but
there you go.
I mean, that's somebody from their era that knows their shits. I mean,
it's true.
He played with David Lee too, so.
Oh, that'd be weird.
Yeah, it would be kind of weird when could Sammy just do that, rubbing his face like, I took your guitar player too, bitch. But
yeah.
Oh yeah. Actually, I don't want to say that because actually, when I read this story, it was had David Lee Roth was on board with doing it too. So it was going to be David, Sammy, all the members of Van Halen doing like a little short little reunion type tour, and then they was going to take all the proceeds and give to Eddie Van Halen's estates, I guess, or whatever. But
Oh, no, see, that would be cool.
yeah,
That would be
and that's the way I read it. So what actually happens is a different story, but we'll see. Maybe Alex will come around. I don't know.
yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen this too, but Elon Musk wore a satanic suit of armor at the red carpet event.
I did.
Oh man, like pretty fucking metal. Elon Musk's pretty metal. So.
Yeah. And I saw, and like I say, I don't have all the details, but I saw something where like there's a thrash metal drummer who's trying to sue him for $56 billion.
Yeah, it was something about the stocks or some stupid. I read that and I was like,
yeah,
I ain't talking about this.
Yeah. So,
of course,
like I said, that's why I say I kind of glossed over it too. But
yeah, it was something about he's one of like a big stockholder in the company in Tesla or something, and I don't know. It's like he's talking about like how this is the Twitter thing's costed the Tesla stocks to plummet and I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
it's like.
Oh, it definitely doesn't have anything to do with music. Absolutely not.
Well, no, it doesn't. So only that he plays in a band.
Yeah, well, that was the only reason why I even read it because it was in the headline. Right. I was like, "What?" And then I was like,
I was actually going to do the story and I opened it and read it and I said, "Man, that ain't worth talking about." So
yeah, no, I did the same thing. I was like, this has nothing to even. It was just it was just a damn attention grabber, is all it was.
Right. And then this was pretty interesting. Did you know Rob Zombie once directed a commercial for Woolite laundry detergent? 2011 TV ad for the cleaning product uses the heavy metal all through his horror-focused vision, ominously illustrating a monstrous movie-like character cleaning clothes.
I did not know that. No.
I know, but now I want to go back and try to find it and look at it. But,
yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
All right, heading over to some headlines from this week. Sodom frontman says the next LP will be the band's heaviest album ever.
I saw that.
Could you imagine that? Like
that was exactly my first thought. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Can it come out tomorrow? I mean,
yeah. Can you got that on hand right now? You ready to go? Yeah, let's do that.
Then ex Iron Maiden singer Blaze Bayley. Some of the people that hate me have never actually listened to what I do, and like I brought this. I wanted to talk about this because I think that's like a big thing. Is like once a person like steps away from a certain band, that they get lost and like the fans don't follow those guys as much. Just like say Megadeth. Well, if you're a Megadeth fan, you're probably not knowing anything that Dave Ellison's doing right now.
And he's doing like 2 or 3 things.
Yeah, and I actually heard that album that they released I guess it was like a couple months ago now, but it was pretty fucking good, dude.
It was
good shit.
Yeah, there's been a couple music videos come out of some of the stuff in some of his new projects that I actually posted at the Metalheads Unite Facebook page. Yeah, it actually turned out really well.
Yeah, so I'm just like saying that just because they're not in a band, don't cut the guy out. I mean, just like Jeff Tate. I mean, people could have been Queensryche fans, been like, "Fuck Jeff Tate, I ain't listening to his shit again." But you're missing out on music. I mean, that's the thing. Is like, just like we talk about a million times, that Dave Mustaine had never left Metallica, we would never have Metallica and Megadeth. It's like you got two biggest bands in fucking metal now. So, I mean.
And hell, Blaze Bayley had an album come out earlier this year that I really liked.
It was good, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these bands, I mean, just like a lot of these guys do single stuff and it's good. Like Todd LaTorre had that single album out last year, and I was just like, you turned me on to that, and I was like, damn, this is pretty fucking good. So
it was good and heavy.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like you can't judge, and I think that's crazy that people hate him that never actually. How do you hate something you never heard? I don't understand that. It's like.
Well, that's just a microcosm for the way people are today.
So I don't like that. Well, have you heard it? No. It's like, well, how do you know?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
Like, I go in here. when I go in here and I talk about certain music, and I'm like, I don't like that. There's a reason why I don't like it because I heard it and I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's, I'm not going to go in here and talk about, like, if you bring up something that I've never heard, I'm not going to say, well, whatever. No, I'm going to be like, I usually write shit down if I don't know about it. Victor's come up with some stuff we wrote down. I mean, Will's gave us some stuff from Sepsis. I mean, we got people giving us stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, and I go through and listen to as much as I can. Like I say, I'm behind on a lot of that because of the show, but that's
I'm
fine.
a mile behind, yeah.
But that's
so
fine.
far behind.
Yeah, but that's fine. I mean, we doing what we can. So. Next, it's official. TNT reunites with singer Tony Harnell once again. So we were just talking about TNT earlier. So told you there was some news about that. So they're reuniting and coming out with new music. So that's pretty good. Flyleaf also reunites with their singer Lacey Sturm, which is going to be fucking awesome. Lamb of God
and Cold Chamber's getting back together.
Yep, Cold Chamber's getting back together. So I think it's just for like the those couple of festival shows or something.
It might be, but
yeah, but still, I like Devil Driver better, but
so do I. Yeah, no, I do too.
Yeah, if he gets rid of that and goes back to Cold Chamber, I'm like, hey, you motherfucker, we gotta talk.
I definitely don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't either, but I think it's just for I think I seen it for it was like a new metal type festival, I think. So they're doing, so I think they're reuniting for that, which is cool. I mean,
yeah, they are.
I think it's Flyleaf and Korn and them, System of a Down.
System of a Down, yeah.
It's pretty big stuff.
I saw the entire bill, and it's actually
pretty decent.
It's pretty solid. It really is.
Lamb of God and Creator postponed their State of Unrest European tour to early 2023. I don't know if you got that later on, but we can cover the dates if you do. Disturbed. I
think,
Disturbed, the bassist John Moore marries his longtime girlfriend. So congratulations to him.
What are you doing? I have a guest now.
You have a guest.
What are you doing?
This take on the Pantera reunion is probably the best that I've heard. And it's from King's X frontman Doug Pinnick. He said about the Pantera reunion. He said, even if I had an opinion, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can't get much more
there you go.
Truthful than that. Then Fozzy played their first concert following Chris Jericho's throat surgery. So needless to say, Fozzy's back on doing their thing. So hopefully they'll make up for their lost time for their fans. So we had 200 stab wounds.
I'm just glad he can sing again.
Yeah, right. Then we had 200 stab wounds. They finally joined Metal Blade Records. So congrats to them. That's probably going to help push them a little bit.
I would say.
We had Clutch's Neil Fallon wants people to stop asking bands to sound like they used to, which I kind of agree with that. I mean, that's, I think that's kind of where we've talked about many times before where, they all sound the same. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
or they try to change and they're like, you need to go back to the way you used to sound. Like, you either, it's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing.
It is.
When you do stuff like that. So,
it is.
I agree. I don't think you should ask them to sound like they used to be because that's the difference in their music. If you got a song from 99 and a song from 2019, it shouldn't sound the same. I mean,
right. There should be some sort of evolution.
Yeah, exactly.
There should.
20 years there in music is, there's pedals and, all kind of stuff that comes out that can make things sound different. So,
yeah.
And then last but not least, Johnny Kelly on Typo Negative. I think that Peter's work deserves some kind of celebration, but no reunions. So they don't want to reunite. They just want to do some kind of celebration for Peter, which I kind of agree with that. I think there should be something.
Yeah, me too.
Something to that extent. So,
I think there will be at some. There would be at some point. You'd have to think.
Yeah. And all right, that's all I had. So that kind of wraps up all the news of the week. So that would kind of get me into one of the announcements I was going to do. I guess I can go ahead and do that now. So
yeah, cool.
So was on the show Politishock on Thursday, and and Dan shared some news that they have a scheduled meeting with Sirius XM in March for the Politishock show. So, and he said, depending on how that goes, then he'll start adding all of us into that. So hopefully, by summer of next year, we may actually get to hear us on Sirius. So
Wow,
that'll be big. So
that would be big.
So he showed a lot of news on there the other day. It was kind of surprising. I was like, wow, like a lot of the stuff he was talking about. I was like, wow, really? It's kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
So, all right, we'll jump over to some hitting the road real quick. I got a little bit from last week and then some from this week as well. So I think I got like 6 or 7 here. Most of my stuff from this week is festivals. So
Okay, that's cool because I really haven't been doing much of the festival stuff because I know it changes so much. But
it does, yeah. But
I do have one, but
so this one's I'm just going to go through all of it regardless of when it was done.
Yeah,
Here
that's fine.
just still just kind of go down because and none of it happened yet, so just kind of go down
Right.
the line. First one I had was for the Acacia Strain Fit for an Autopsy Full of Hell Primitive Man Tour. That kicks off on March 8th in Brooklyn, New York at the Monarch, and that ends on April 1st in Worcestershire, Worcestershire, Massachusetts at the Palladium. Um, Seafaring music fans can set sail metal style when Lamb of God's first ever Headbangers Boat Heavy
Yeah,
Metal Cruise hosts a stacked lineup of metal bands from October 31st through November 4th. And I'm dying to go, but I'm just like, I don't want to miss Halloween. So
right. Yeah.
Aboard the Norwegian Pearl cruise ships setting sail from Miami to Nassau in the Bahamas, Lamb of God will be joined by Mastodon, Hatebreed, Gwar, Shadows Fall, God forbid, Fit for an Autopsy, and I actually have an update on that here in a minute.
Yep.
Lamb of God will play 2 unique sets, including full performances of their influential 2004 album, Ashes of the Wake. Like I said, I do have an update on that here in just a second.
Yeah, it's a hell of an update too.
This one, man, this one I wish was coming closer to us. Anthrax, Black Label Society, and Exodus going on
Who the
tour.
fuck are you telling?
Yeah. Kicking off on January 17th in Boise, Idaho at the Revolution Concert House and ending up February 18th at Oakland, California at the Fox Theater. When I didn't see a date close to us on there, I'm like, you motherfuckers.
No, I looked for one that would have been at least drivable, and I didn't see one.
Yeah, most of it's out west. So,
yeah.
And then I got That Artist Murder will hit the road in North America next February for their Decade of Hate tour with Kubla Khan, Undeath, I Am, and Justice for the Damned. That kicks off on February 8th in Buffalo, New York at Town Ballroom. It ends on March 11th at Pachagi, New York, and at the Stereo Garden. And they did make a stop in Nashville at the Basement East on March 5th. So, so that one does come through here. Then Lamb of God update here. Recently announced their inaugural Headbangers Boat cruise to take place between October 31st and November 4th. Cruise sets sail, of course, from Miami to Nassau. It now includes the following artists. They would kick your ass right into the ocean.
Hell yeah.
Lamb of God, Mastodon, Testament, Hatebreed, Gwar, Municipal Waste, Shadows Fall, God forbid, Lacuna Coil, Gate Creeper, Fit for an Autopsy, Violence, Malevolence, Bleed from Within, Dying Wish, and Mark Morton.
Good Lord.
Sign me up. So,
yeah. I wish.
Then we got Metallica, Bring Me the Horizon, and Slipknot's headlining a 4-night download festival in 2023. Metallica's actually playing 2 nights there, 2 different shows. The full lineup is Metallica, Bring Me the Horizon, Slipknot, Alex is on Fire, Architects as December Falls, Asking Alexandria, Aviva, Bambi Thug, Beauty School Dropout, Behemoth, Black Gold, Blind Channel, Bloodywood. Bloodywood is a band that I got turned on to at the Blue Ridge Festival. Somebody turned me on to those guys. I'm pretty fucking impressed, to be honest with you. Then we got Brutus, Crash Face, Crawlers, Dead Sarah, Disturbed, Elvana, Enola Gay, Evanescence, Fever 333, Fixation, Ghost, Graphic Nature, Guar, Hawks, Ingested, I Prevail, Jasmine Bean, Kid Bookie, Kid Capiche, Lake Malice, Lorna Shore, Mod Sun, Monuments, Motionless in White, Municipal Waste, Nothing Nowhere, Nova Twins, Parkway Drive, Pendulum, Polaris, Pupil Slicer, Seether, Sim, Simple Plan, Sewing, Soul Glow, got your soul glow. Stand Atlantic, Set It Off, Stray from the Path, Taylor Acorn, Terror, The Blackout, The Distillers, The Mefs, 3 Days Grace, Touche Amore, VV, which I'm not sure if it's 55 or if it's supposed to be VV. I don't know. But it's a big V and a little V. So uh, then Witch Fever and Within Temptation. So that's a pretty solid lineup.
I would say.
And then Ozfest is going all digital this week with its first ever metaverse version of the classical festival. This year's lineup includes Ozzy Osbourne, presumably an old live show from Motorhead, unless they've hired a necromancer. Uh, Megadeth, Black Label Society, Skid Row, The Raven Age, and Britduff. So the digital Ozfest will take place here in the Decentraland Metaverse Music Festival online between November 10th and 13th for free. So you can still catch that on there if you want to check that out. It's a then I think this is my last one. It's a bit of piecemeal pace, but more and more dates continue to be added for the Pantera celebration shows following Phil Anselmo and Rex Brown with Zach Wild and Charlie Benante sitting in. The latest edition comes via Norway's Tons of Rock Festival, which is set to take place June 22nd to 24th in Oslo, Norway next year. Hey, there's a trip we need to make. We need to go to Norway and we can see Hext.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, shit. Perfect.
This becomes the third European stop for the band, who recently announced plans to play both Rock AM Ring and or Rock Am Ring, I don't know, and Rock Am Ring and Rock M Park.
Rock and Ring, Rock
yeah.
and Ring and Rock and Park. Yep.
Yeah, in Germany, the weekend of June 2nd through the 4th. These shows come on the heels of the Pantera celebration shows in Mexico and South America to finish out 2022. But Pantera are only the tip of the iceberg for Norway's Tons of Rock Festival. To whet the appetite of music fans, organizers have released the first 15 bands confirmed to play the music weekend this year, and includes heavy hitters such as Ghost, Gojira, Behemoth, and Clutch. Other acts on board for the metal-leaning music weekend include TNT, Powerwolf, Mayhem, Stage Dolls, Honey Children, The Good, The Bad, and The Zugly, Avatar, Spirit Box, Voivod, and Bryn. Additional acts will be revealed in the coming weeks, but for now, fans can get their festival and VIP passes starting. Actually, they're started yesterday at 10 a.m. So get your passes for that. So, and that's all I have for the hitting the road there. So.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Pretty good. A lot of good stuff coming out. So, a lot of good stuff coming out. All right. So, as far as hitting the road for myself, from the 29th of October through November 11th, leading off over at the PRP like always. Escuela Grind will be replacing Halder on Exhum's U.S. headlining tour with Vitriol, Molder, and Castrator, and then the following dates have been added: December 6th in New Orleans, Louisiana, at the Goat, and December 18th in Sacramento, California, at the Starlit Room. Within Destruction is going to be coming on their first North American headline tour. The opening acts were supposed to be announced yesterday, but I did not see that happen, so I'll keep my eye open for that. The tour starts January 26, 23 in San Diego, California at Brick by Brick, and lasts until February 26, 2023 in Phoenix, Arizona at the Nile Underground. No Nashville date for that tour. Then Unearth and King Parrot are going to do a trio of Australian Borderline Destruction Festival appearances. The first one will be January 21st, 23 in Brisbane, Australia at the Zoo, and will feature Unearth, King Parrot, Babarusa, The Ascending, From Crisis to Collapse, Complexant, and Disgust. On January 27th, 23 in Sydney, Australia at Crowbar, featuring Unearth, King Parrot, The Ascended, Complexant, and Flaming Wreckage. and January 28th, 23 in Melbourne, Australia at Max Watts featuring Unearth, King Parrot, The Ascended, Triple Kill, Complexant, Primitives, Cerament, and Choof. Then let's see, we've got Choof. Yep. Then we've got Upon a Burning Body, Left to I know my cat, he's like right here. Got Upon a Burning Body, Left to Suffer, and The Dialectic going on a December Texas tour. Those dates will be December 7th in Houston at Scout Bar, December 8th in Dallas at Southside Music Hall, December 9th in Tyler at Country River Club, December 10th in San Antonio at Vibes Event Center, and December 11th in Corpus Christi at the House of Rock. Sleeping with Sirens are going on a UK headlining tour in March, starting March 13th in Bristol at the O2 Academy, finishing March 21st in Glasgow at SWG3. Let's see. I already did the Headbangers Boat thing. So let's see. We got God Forbid and Bleeding Through are going to do a couple of shows together in January. January 6th in Sayreville, New Jersey at the Starland Ballroom, and January 7th in Worcester, Mass at the Palladium. The Fall of Troy is going to be doing some shows in December, playing their Manipulator album in its entirety. December 15th in Spokane, Washington at the Big Dipper. December 16th in Seattle, Washington at El Corazon. And December 17th in Portland, Oregon at the Theater. Attila, Our Hollow, Our Home, Traders, Ghost Iris, and Stain the Canvas are going to be going on a European and UK tour starting February 24th, 23 in Arnhem, Netherlands at Wilhelmine, finishing March 25th in Dortmund, Germany at Junkyard. Soulwork, Cataclysm, and Wildrun are going to go on a 2023 European tour starting February 3rd in Vorselar, Belgium at Daydreef, finishing April 30th in Amstelveen, Netherlands at P60. Leprous, Monuments, and Calandra going to Europe and to the UK, starting February 1st in Gothenburg, Sweden at Pustervik, finishing March 8th in Oslo, Norway at Centrum Scene. Fever 333 cancels their early 2023 European and UK touring plans to allow the band to reset. And considering there's only one member of the band left, I guess you kind of have to do that. So it's kind of important. Withered is going to be going on a Southeast tour starting tonight in Atlanta, Georgia at the Masquerade at the Snowblind Festival, where our good friend Victor is at. So they will be there tonight. And the tour will last through January 14th, 23 in Spartanburg, South Carolina. The venue has yet to be announced. No Nashville date for that tour. Then we got D's Nuts, the Acacia Strain, Unity, Texas, and Brothers Till We Die going to Europe and to the UK. Unity. Starting January 27th in Antwerp, Belgium at Kavka. Finishing February 26th in Oberhausen, Germany at Cult Temple. Then we have Jerry Cantrell going on a solo tour with Thunder. Don't you dare. Going on a my cat tried to knock my pen off the desk. Don't you do that. Don't you do that. Jerry Cantrell is going to go on a solo tour with Thunder Pussy starting February 21st. 23 in Ventura, California at the Majestic Ventura Theater, rounding out on April 1st in Tacoma, Washington at the Pantages Theater. No Nashville date there. Then we have Origin, Monstrosity, Reject the Sickness, and Intrepid going to Europe and the UK, starting January 6th, 23 in Geneva, Switzerland at Lucene, finishing January 29th in Poznan, Poland at U Basil. Then moving over to Blabbermouth, we have Morbid Angel, Revocation, Skeletal Remains, and Crypta going on tour, starting March 15th in Pensacola, Florida at the Vinyl Music Hall, finishing April 22nd in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at the Culture Room. Revocation is going to be on the tour from March 15th to April 4th. Skeletal Remains is going to take over on April 6th and go through the end April 22nd. So Revocation and Skeletal Remains are going to split the bill. There's no Nashville date for the tour, but they will be in Knoxville, Tennessee, rather, at the Concourse on April 18th. Slipknot has announced their June 2023 European appearance calendar. This will be a mix of festival appearances and headlining shows. June 7th in Nickelsdorf, Austria at Nova Rock. June 8th in Radic, Czechia at Rock for the People. June 10th in Interlaken, Interlaken, Switzerland at Greenfield, June 13th in Amsterdam, Netherlands at the Ziggo Dome, June 14th in Esch sur Alzette, Luxembourg at Rock Hall, June 16th in Copenhagen, Denmark at the Copenhagen Festival, June 17th in Dessel, Belgium at the Grass Pop Metal Meeting, June 20th in Hamburg, Germany at Barclays Arena, and June 21st in Berlin, Germany at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. Machine Head has recruited Havoc guitarist Reese Allen Scruggs to fill in for Vaclav Kieltaika on the fall U.S. tour due to Vogue's touring commitments with Decapitated. So that'll be that one kind of directly affects us, considering that we're going to be going to see him next week. So we will actually get to see Havoc's guitar player play for Machine
nice.
Head. So that'll be interesting. You already talked about Lamb of God and Creator postponing their European tour to 2023. Those dates are going to be February 15th in Munich, Germany at Zenith is when the tour will now start, and it will now end March 19th in Berlin, Germany at Columbia Hall. And we talked about him just a little bit ago, but Jeff Tate is going to be going on the Operation Mindcrime 35th Anniversary UK tour starting June 14th in Sheffield, UK at Corporation, finishing June 23rd in Newcastle, UK at The Clooney. Not George Clooney. Then British Lions, Steve Harris's side project, and Coney Hatch are going to be going to the UK in January, starting January 6th in Queen's Hall, UK at Nuneaton, and we'll finish on January 19th in Norwich, UK at the Epic Studios. And then last but not least, I actually saw this one on a Facebook post. Skullfist is going to be doing a Latin American tour in February, starting February 9th in Monterrey, Mexico at Cafe Iguana, and will finish on February 21st in Porto Alegre, Brazil, and the venue has not been announced yet. So, but all of that will wrap up Hitting the Road for the past 2 weeks.
I got two more things here from our page here, or our group page here. The Snowblind Festival Victor's at, if you wanted to know who all was there, High on Fire, Corrosion of Conformity, Weed Eater, Pentagram, Mothership, The Obsessed, which we've seen, a pretty good show, Black Tusk, Cloak, Withered, Year of the Cobra, Order of the Owl, Hot Ram, Dire Wolf, Dayglow Morning, Bog a Monkey, Realm, Stone Man, and Dead Vibes Ensemble. So that is the lineup there out in Atlanta. Get the poster here. It's at the Masquerade in Atlanta. Of course, the doors have already opened there. So if you want to get out there and catch some of that, there you go. And like I say, we will share as many of the live streams that our friend Victor posts over at his Facebook group. So, and then let's see here. What is trying to see who I was on this. Oh, here we go. So then also today, if you're up in the northeast area there, or actually Virginia area, sorry, they're having the Thrash Giving 7. Metalheads help wounded veterans and the Hungry at Tucked Away Brewing Company. So that's at Manassas, Virginia. So if you're out there and want to help donate, the cash covers $10 or $5 with canned goods, non-perishable food items. They have a list of that over there at the Thrash Giving 7, and of course you can catch that over at our page as well on Metalheads Unite. But it's the 7th annual Thrash Giving show hosted to help feed the hungry, as well as an observation for Veterans Day. We will be helping support the nonprofit Operation Family Home, who provides mortgage-free homes to service members and their families who have become wounded, ill, or injured as a result of their service in the defense of our country. Which is fucking awesome that they're doing that, man. It's fucking great. The bands there are our good friends Ashes Rain, Dice Figure, Iris Divine, Light No Tomorrow, Max Redding, and Dogwood Gospel, Schumann, Stones Unturned, Silence the Blind, and Spiral Fracture. So good little lineup there. They also have a art auction as well there. So a lot of stuff to do and donate to help out the veterans that help you to do whatever it is you like to do, because that's the reason you're free. So
Yep.
So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I covered that event too, because I didn't realize
Oh,
it was.
yeah.
I actually didn't realize it was today until I looked down there. I was like, oh shit, that's today too. I was like, make sure I mentioned that. Uh, so all right. So,
Oh, and for everybody who is watching right now, if you're wondering what's on the screen, that is actually the link to Jason's weekly playlist that we have up on the screen right now.
All right, and then I guess we can kick over into some history here real quick. Well, not real quick, because we got 2 weeks.
No.
But
anyway. We'll do our best.
Yeah. So October 30th, 2004, an arrest warrant was issued for Motley Crue singer Vince Neil after he allegedly knocked a sound man unconscious during a concert. Neil was said to have punched Michael Talbot in the face at Gilly's nightclub in Dallas after he asked the sound man for more volume on his guitar, but attacked Talbot as he adjusted it, leaving him unconscious for 45 seconds. So,
well, it's definitely not going to get you more sound on your guitar if you knock the guy out.
So. Yeah, no. And what was so bad about it is he only needed more cowbell. So, not talking about for nothing. So.
Pretty much.
Then October 30th, 1990, Guns N' Roses singer Axl Rose was released on $10,000 bail after being arrested for allegedly hitting a neighbor over the head with a bottle. The incident happened after a complaint to the police about loud music coming from the singer's house. So, can you turn that down? Can you get the fuck off my property?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's two guys that were notoriously fighting,
short-tempered.
Yeah. So yeah, that too. Yeah. And then there was I don't know if you remember, but actually we'll talk about that later with the top 10 segment. But there was a song because the magazines and stuff try to turn Axl and Vince against each other. They actually wanted to see them fist fights back in the 90s. So,
oh yeah, yep.
And then October 31st, 1990, during a gig in Seattle, Washington, Billy Idol dumped 600 dead fish in Faith No More's dressing room. They responded. Yeah, they responded by walking on stage naked during one of Idol's sets. So
that's fucking great. That's fantastic.
That is funny. I imagine you could see Billy with them. I wish there was video of that. I could see Billy's face. He's probably just laughing like motherfucker.
Probably.
November 1st, 2012, Metal Hammer magazine published a list of the top 10 rock and heavy metal mustaches ever. Which is something I was like, man, we've never done that. That's pretty cool. The list including mustaches worn by the likes of Frank Zappa, all members of Black Sabbath, except for Ozzy, of course. But James Hetfield and Lemmy placed Freddie Mercury at the top of the list. So there we go. That's a lot of legendary mustaches there. I think we could do. They need to do beards next, because I think there's a lot of legendary beards. At least ZZ Top comes to mind first, but yeah, there's a lot of metal beards out there.
I could throw my beard into the ring too.
Yeah. November 2nd, 2018, the widow of Soundgarden singer Chris Cornell was suing his doctor, accusing him of overprescribing drugs that ultimately led to his death in 2017. Vicky Cornell alleged that Dr. Robert Coblin negligently and repeatedly prescribed the singer dangerous mind-altering controlled substances. Cornell was found in a Detroit hotel room, and his death was ruled suicide. So, I think this is an ongoing problem in America, period, not just with Chris Cornell, but so, I mean, me being in the pharmacy business used to get heat all the time, because I would talk to people about other alternatives, and they're like, oh, well, you're killing our business. I'm like, yeah, but you're killing our patients. If they're not here to buy anything, then what are you fucking making?
Yep.
I think my greatest thing was a doctor told me one time, says, "Hey man, how do we get a lot of these people off of all these drugs?" I said, "Well, it starts with you stop writing the shit." Yeah, I mean, well, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lose people. Like, well, I mean, I don't know. If you write it, I have to feel it. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
uh, Ozzy Osbourne, or November 2nd, 2007, sorry. Ozzy Osbourne claimed his reputation had been tarnished after a party supposedly involving him was organized by U.S. police officers to round up missing criminal suspects. Over 500 people in North Dakota with outstanding arrest warrants were sent invitations, and more than 30 suspects turned up. Osborne said it was insulting that his name had been used, but police argued it was a creative way to fight crime. Ozzy had been selected because he was due to play a gig in the nearby arena, which was used to explain why he would have supposedly have been attending the party. Um, oh man, that's pretty wild.
That's far from the first time I've heard of police doing that. Usually it's not.
Oh yeah,
Usually it's not with something that high profile, like that high profile a person. But what they'll
right.
do is they'll send out notices like, hey, you won a prize, and then
Show up
people
here.
show up. They're like, hey, I won. They're like, yep, you won some handcuffs. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Just a 5 o'clock crack giveaway.
yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
God damn it! You tricked me. uh, oh man,
Exactly, just like that. Yeah.
yeah. November 3rd, 1997, Metallica came to an out-of-court agreement with a fan who claimed he lost his sense of smell after being dropped on his head by fans at one of their shows 4 years earlier. All right, first off, I don't know who the fan was, but fuck you, and fuck you 5 times. That's some
Mm-hmm.
bullshit. That's some bullshit. Like, you fucking know, like, when you go to a concert and you're crowd surfing, what the fuck does the band have to do with that? Like, get the fuck out of here, man. That
Zero.
pissed me. That pissed me off. They
Zero.
came to. That pissed me off that they even paid for that shit, man. Fuck them.
Mm-hmm. I
Jesus
mean, I guess it
Christ.
was. I guess it was nice of them to do that, but
Well,
they didn't
yeah,
have
but I
to, and they
mean,
shouldn't have had to.
no, it shouldn't have done, man. Nothing to
They
do with
shouldn't
that.
have had to.
Shit like that
Yeah.
pisses me off so bad. Like, you know what you know what you're going to do, or what they're going to do when, and what could happen if you're
Mm-hmm.
getting crowd surfed. I mean, what do you
Yep.
think my big ass don't do? I don't know if anybody carry me. I'm gonna drop my damn head somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
uh, November 6, 2003, Metallica kicked off their 137 date Madly in Anger with the World Tour at Yoyogi Takukanan, Takukanan, Tokyo, Japan. The Madly in Anger with World Tour was the fourth highest grossing tour of 2004, reaping in $60,500,000 in ticket sales. Like, damn.
Well, that's part of the reason why they've made $1.2 billion in ticket sales in
There
40
you go.
years.
Yeah. Uh, November 7th, 2017, Finnish rock drummer Pentti Gland died of lung cancer at the age of 71. He's best known for his work with Alice Cooper and Lou Reed, but he also appeared in the movie The Rose as the drummer of the Rose Band. So, a little split action there, music and
Mm-hmm.
acting.
Yeah.
November 7th, 2012, a woman died and 19 others were injured after a scaffolding collapsed outside a Linkin Park concert in Cape Town, South Africa. The temporary scaffolding outside Greenpoint Stadium came down in high winds just before the concert. And the concert went ahead with the band only learning of the deaths afterwards. So that's kind of so. As a promoter, you suck, man. That's just
Mm-hmm.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you giving that band a bad name, and they didn't have shit to do with it because they didn't know.
Right.
Man, some of these just selfish ass promoters kill me. Like, why can't you just wait a day, or just say, hey man, we had these deaths, let's redo it for tomorrow. I mean, November 7th, 2002, 12 Guns N' Roses fans were arrested during a riot after a gig in Vancouver was canceled. Promoters pulled the gig after Axl Rose's flight from Los Angeles was delayed. I mean, that's the earliest he's ever been late. So, Axl. November 7th, 1991, rhythm guitarist Izzy Stradlin quit Guns N' Roses and was replaced by guitarist Gilby Clarke. Stradlin cited a combination of Axl Rose's personal behavior and the difficulties of being around Slash, Matt Sorum, and Duff McKagan due to his newfound sobriety. Well, if only Steve Adler had that much luck.
Right.
Uh, the Get dudes had more stuff in him than probably running close to Keith Richards at this point. Uh, November 8th, 2008, AC/DC started a 2-week run at #1 on the U.S. album chart with Black Ice, the band's 15th studio album and the second best-selling album of 2008. Black Ice went on to be #1 in 29 countries, including Australia, Canada, and the UK, and the US, of course. So that's pretty impressive. #1 in 29 countries. Wow. November 11th, 2000.
It's not
Yeah.
bad.
November 11th, 2015, Phil Taylor, better known as the Filthy Animal Taylor, and the drummer with the band Motorhead, died at the age of 61. He was in the classic Mark IV Motorhead lineup of Lemmy Taylor and Fast Eddie Clarke, who recorded 10 studio albums and the live album No Sleep Till Hammersmith. So that will end out my contributions to the history there. So
Cool. Very cool. Well, I just did 1 week, because we usually.
Yeah, honestly, like I was surprised I found that much.
What's that?
Really, I was honestly surprised I found that much within the 2 week period. It's been kind of lacking here recently.
Yeah, it had been. Yeah.
And then it just kind of started rolling. I said, "Oh well, I done got it down here now." So
Yeah. All right. So for this week in metal history, for the 5th through the 11th, brought to you by This Day in Metal and Dr. Feelgood and Ms. Hyde at Twitter and Facebook, respectively. Leading off with 11/5/21, Crazy Licks releases Street Lethal. 11/5/02, Diamond Rex releases The Evil. 11/5/96, Nevermore releases The Politics of Ecstasy. And 11/5/91, Corrosion of Conformity releases Blind. 11/6/90, Scorpions release Crazy World, which peaked at number 21 on the Billboard 200, and Creator releases Coma of Souls. 11/6/20, Eternal Idol releases Renaissance, and Fate's Warning releases Long Day, Good Night. 11/6/01, Diamond Rex releases Rex Erected, and As I Lay Dying releases Beneath the Encasing of Ashes. And just in case you're curious, this is last week's top 10 right there. Up on the screen right there. 11/6/95, Symphony X releases The Damnation Game. 11/6/12, All That Remains releases A War You Cannot Win. 11/7/87, Venom releases Calm Before the Storm. 11/7/12, Bloodbound releases In the Name of Metal. 11/7/11, Reckless Love releases Animal Attraction. 11/7/14, Crazy Licks releases their self-titled debut album, and Machine Head releases Bloodstone and Diamonds. 11/7/2000, Yngwie Malmsteen releases War to End All Wars. And Firehouse releases O2. 11/7/89, Whitesnake releases Slip of the Tongue. 11/7/81, Ozzy Osbourne releases Diary of a Madman. And 11/7/95, Alice in Chains releases a self-titled album. 11/8/71, Led Zeppelin releases Led Zeppelin 4. 11/8/19, The Dark Element releases Songs The Night Sings. Blind Guardian releases Legacy of the Dark Lands, and Quiet Riot releases Hollywood Cowboys. 11/8/89, Running Wild releases Death or Glory. 11/8/87, Black Sabbath releases The Eternal Idol. 11/8/90, Motorhead releases Ace of Spades. And 11/8/94, Cinderella releases Still Climbing. 11/9/99, Saxon releases Metalhead. Bolt Thrower releases Mercenary. 11/9/98, rather, Bolt Thrower releases Mercenary. 11/9/85, Dokken releases Underlock and Key. Wasp releases The Last Command, which peaked at number 49 on the Billboard 200. Twisted Sister releases Come Out and Play. Y&T releases Down for the Count, which peaked at number 91 on the Billboard 200. 11/9/18, All That Remains releases Victim of the New Disease, which debuted at number 154 on the Billboard 200. 11/10/77, Riot releases Rock City. 11/10/83, Billy Idol releases Rebel Yell, which peaked at number 6 on the Billboard 200. 11/10/17, Secret Rule releases The Key to the World. Elvin King releases Secrets of the Magic Grimoire. The Dark Element releases their self-titled debut album. Amberian Dawn releases Darkness of Eternity. Pink Cream 69 releases Headstrong. Babylon AD releases Revelation Highway. And Evanescence releases Synthesis. 11/10/03, Firewind releases Burning Earth. 11/10/81, Motley Crue releases Too Fast for Love. And Kiss releases Music from the Elder. 11/10/86, Fate's Warning releases Awaken the Guardian. And Sepultura releases Morbid Visions. 11/10/92, Biohazard releases Urban Discipline. 11/11 of 02, Heaven Shall Burn releases Whatever It May Take, and Luca Turilli releases Prophet of the Last Eclipse. 11/11 of 05, Extrema releases Set the World on Fire. 11/11 of 97, Venom releases Cast in Stone, and Edge of Sanity releases Cryptic. 11/11 of 09, Avatar releases a self-titled album. 11/11 of 16, In Flames releases Battles, and Sirenia releases Dim Days of Dolor. 11/11 of 96, Anathema releases Eternity. 11/11 of 03, Dream Theater releases Train of Thought. 11/11 of 91, Iced Earth releases Night of the Storm Rider. 11/11 of 76, Kiss releases Rock and Roll Over, which peaked at number 11 on the Billboard 200. 11/11 of 08, Steelheart releases Good to Be Alive. And last but not least, 11/11 of 2000, Marilyn Manson releases Holywood in the Shadow of the Valley of Death. So those are the historical releases from the 5th through the 11th this week in metal history.
What's going on? But like I commented the autumn playlist twice, and it's not showing up in the comments. So weird.
Is it not? How about that one? I just posted the second link.
What second link?
It popped up twice in the chat.
Yeah, but it's not showing up like on.
It's not showing up in the.
It's still got the weekly playlist on the screen. So.
No, this was the weekly playlist. And then that should have been the autumn one. And then this link actually popped up in the chat twice, but this one's not in the. Let's see. Hang on. Well, that's weird.
Yeah, because I'm still like where the ticker and stuff is. I'm still seeing the weekly playlist. I don't see the autumn one because that's the link for the weekly playlist that's still posted up.
Actually, no. This is the second one that you posted. This was the autumn one, correct? The one on the screen right now should be the autumn one. Unless I had them backwards, I may have.
Yeah, it's just froze up over here for some reason. So.
Oh, that's weird. Well, regardless, you can find those playlists. You search for Metalheads Unite, and you can find those playlists over on Spotify. They are there.
So. It's not showing up in the chat on my end either. So this is weird too. So
that's equally as weird.
No. I mean, we're not frozen. I'm looking at the live feed on Facebook and stuff. And
we're
all moving. So I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, you're right. That is odd.
But like I see the where you posted on Facebook, it shows up as the autumn one. Mm-hmm. But when I'm looking up here, it's still showing the weekly playlist. It's like, wow, what the fuck? Okay, well, whatever.
Actually, I'm looking at it. I'm actually looking at it live now too, and it does appear. Well, at least on my phone, I see all three links that you've sent through.
Yeah, I see it on Facebook. I just don't see it on StreamYard. That's what I'm saying. Like,
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is fucking weird.
Yeah, because usually you highlight it on StreamYard and then put it over there, and I'm like, okay, and you said it was up, and I'm like, well, hell, it's not even showing up as a comment over here. Like, what the hell?
Okay, yeah, that's odd.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, but yeah, like I say, they are there. So
yeah, like I said, I seen it. It's got the right link on Facebook. So so all the other live feeds besides StreamYard, I guess, has the right one. Hopefully.
Okay, that's the main thing, I guess.
All right, I guess we would jump into our top 10 metal songs of the week. We decided we were going to go with Fighting.
Yes.
So, should be an interesting playlist here. I think I wound up with 13.
Yeah.
Or 14. Okay.
Well, that's cool. All right.
Yeah. Man, I like this was like one of the easiest ones for me for some reason. It's like I was just going through here, and before I knew it, I had 12 songs. I was like, oh shit.
Well, that's cool.
So I didn't have to cheat. I didn't have to cheat at all. So which is
okay.
which is amazing. But all right, I guess I'll kick it off here. You can't kick off a fighting playlist without kicking off with the band Fight, I guess. So, so I went with Fight, Little Crazy from War of Words, 1993. Second one I took was Five Finger Death Punch, Dot Your Eyes from Wrong Side of Heaven, Righteous Side of Hell, Volume 1, 2013. Then I took Skid Row, Piece of Me from Skid Row of 1989. And then this one was one I was talking about earlier, Guns N' Roses, Get in the Ring from Use Your Illusion 2, 1991.
Yep. I knew exactly what song you were talking about when you brought that up.
Then I went with I Prevail, Come and Get It from Lifelines 2016. That's one of my favorite. Man, that song gets you pumped. Makes you want to fight a motherfucker.
I mean, I would hope so.
Probably like this one is probably like the worst, like for anything, driving, fighting, whatever. But I took Pantera Walk from Vulgar Display of Power 1992.
Yep.
I think that's a hype song, period. But
I used to listen to it before hockey games.
Yeah, it gets you pumped up for sure. Then I went with the Non-Points Ruthless from the Ruthless EP 2021. Then I went with Egypt Central Kick Ass from White Rabbit 2011. Then I went with Exodus, The Beatings Will Continue Until Morale Improves from Persona Non Grata 2021.
Such a good fucking song. Oh my God.
Yeah. Then I went with Korn, Right Now from Take a Look in the Mirror 2003. And if you don't get that, you just read the lyrics. So, then I went with I think all these are extras right now. So Bullet for My Valentine, You Want a Battle, Here's a War from Venom 2015. Then I went with Mice and Men, Bones Exposed from Restoring Force in 2014. And then I went with Gwar, Beat You to Death from Bloody Pit of Horror 2010. And then last but not least, I went with Cage Fight, Respect Ends from the Cage Fight album earlier this year. So
nice. Very nice. Yeah, I ended up with 16.
Oh, it's gonna be a nice playlist.
Yeah, four of them by new bands, quote unquote new bands.
Listen at your own risk.
Pretty much. Don't listen with your children around.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a couple beers and fight a motherfucker.
There you go.
All right. Samuel Jackson.
That's right. Listen, yeah. It'll get you drunk. Yeah. All right.
Fat girls in no time.
Yeah. Living. Such a good skit. Fucking Bill Burr was in it. For those of you who don't remember, he was in it.
Oh, he was. Yes, he was. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep. All right. Leading off with the song "Fight" by War Kings off of Revolution from 2021. Then I went with Strike Fast, Strike Hard by Onslaught from Generation Antichrist from 2020. Then I went with This Day We Fight by Megadeth off of Endgame from 2009. Then some of you may like, I'm going to read this one, but then you guys are going to be like, that's not what that video is about. And I get it, but I went with Mon Gegen Mon by Rammstein off of Rosenrot from 2005. If you've ever seen that music video, you're going to know what I'm talking about. But but Mon Gegen Mon translates to man against man. So, so that's why I went with that. Then I went with Fight by Stratovarius off of their self-titled album 2005. Then I went with These Fighting Words by Devil Driver off The Last Kind Words from 2007. Went Fight Fire with Fire by Metallica off Ride the Lightning from 1984. Then I went with Fight by Raven off of Extermination from 2015. Then I went with Stand Up and Fight by Iron Savior off of Kill or Get Killed from 2019. Then I went with I Will Fight Alone by Firewind from off of Between Heaven and Hell from 2002. So that was my 10. That was my first 10. Then my honorable mentions, the first 4 are all called Fight. Fight. So the first one was from a band called Ancestral off of their album Web of Lies from 2016. They are a thrash metal band from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Then I went with Fight from Fernaze off of, I think that's how you say it, Fernaze off of their album None More Black from 2012. They are a thrash metal band from London, England. Then I went with Fight by Heathen Foray off of their album Into Battle from 2015. They are a melodic death metal band from Graz, Australia. Then I went with Fight by Helker off of their album Fire Soul from 2017. They're a heavy metal band from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Then I went with Gotta Fight by Loudness off of Thunder in the East from 1985. And if you haven't heard of Loudness by now, I don't know what the hell you're doing with yourself.
Right.
If you don't know, they are from Osaka, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went with Fight Against All Evil by Primal Fear from Apocalypse from 2018. And if you don't know who they are, they're a thrash metal band, or they're a power / thrash metal band from Germany. So
Yeah, we're gonna change the name of this to the top 30.
it's good. Yeah, I mean it's gonna get
because
to
between us both, I think we come up with 30. So I think that's
Yeah,
what we're gonna do. I think that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do
we're over 20 every week for sure. So yeah, we may have to change it a little bit, but
then if we
maybe
we have overlaps, we'll just add till we get to 30. So
yeah, maybe we just call this our Songs of the Week segment or some shit like that, and just still pick a topic. But yeah, we haven't stuck to 10 in months.
Yeah. Well, we haven't overlapped a lot either, so it's kind of like, we got to the point where, which is odd, but but it's still good. But
yeah,
I usually put overlaps. We do all the extras because we always never know if we have overlaps. So.
Right. And then it's just kind of blossomed into something else. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, but we'll wind up just changing
like,
that.
Maybe like
top songs of the week or something. Yeah.
Songs of the week or theme of the week or some shit like that. Something like that.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, we'll get the list compiled and collaborated and posted for you guys within the next day or two if all things go well. So.
All right. So album reviews kick off into that.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually got through two full album reviews, and then I actually listened to a EP as well. I didn't really rate the EP, but I'll talk about it a little bit. The first album I listened to was from a band called Bark, the Rambler of Eons, or however you say that damn thing. It's AEONS, so Aeons. You got messed up AA wrong.
Aeon.
Anyway, Bark is a band out of Antwerp, Belgium. They've been active since 2014. It says they're groove metal and death and roll, which I've never heard of. Death and roll. I'm like, what? It's like never heard of that.
Yeah,
before.
that is kind of weird.
It's kind of interesting, but I like their label though. Their label is called Listenable Records, which is
oh nice. Well, that's good to know they're all listenable.
Yeah, right. The band current members are Jorn van der Straten. From and then he plays bass. Then we got Ward van der Straten on drums, and then Martin Furia on guitars, Toon Hewitt on guitars, and then Ron Bruinseels on vocals. Like this band reminded me of the Scorpions. I don't not like any sound or anything. Just looking at them, because you got all these, you got these four fucking guys that are like this big, or look like they're this big compared to the little short singer. So it's kind of like I was like, and then it was funny because all the other band members are like long hair, beard, and stuff, and this guy's clean shaven and bald. It sings, so it's kind of like he stands out for sure. So
that's cool.
But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny just looking at it. But you don't never judge a book by its cover. Of
that's
course.
Very true.
But I still just looked at it, thought that was kind of funny. I was like, wow, that's kind of funny. Just like they're all towering over him with beards and stuff, and he's a little short, bald guy. It's like,
well, it's actually kind of like the Scorpions, because
right, yeah.
Klaus Meine's a little guy,
yeah. That's what I was saying. Like he's saying, like, and like I don't think the other guys were just that big. I think he's just that little that makes him look that big. So,
that's true.
They're probably all like 5'11" or something. But it was kind of funny. But anyway, ain't nothing funny about the fucking vocals in the album. I'll tell you that right now. So this is the band's fourth full length album. 12 songs, 43 minutes, 40 seconds. And let me just say, they got bite as well as bark. So,
there you go.
So vocally it was deep, but not it's not. It wasn't really guttural to me, but it was deep. It's more like a Venom Inc. or Hatebreed deep. You know what I mean?
I gotcha. Yep.
So it wasn't the death metally doom metal kind of like vocally. I did feel like it was more thrashy than doomy, I guess, as far
Okay.
as a lot of it went. Musically, it was real fast paced, so that you didn't really get that with doom metal. So
Yeah.
that's what I was
Doom's a
kind of
little
like.
more deliberate.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like threw off about the. Well, it says groove metal too. I read one site where they called them doom metal, and I was like, I don't know about that, but groove metal, man, maybe I can see that. Maybe it still felt more thrashy to me because had like the guitars and the solos and stuff like that in there. So, uh, but like this album was weird to me at first because like I was kind of like I didn't know like it took me like 3 listens before I really like could sink into like like liking it. Like the more I listen to it now, like I've done listen to it like 5 times, and I'm like more and more liking it every time I listen to it. I'm just like, man, this album is really good. So,
Well, I'm sure that's kind of what the band was going for. Yeah.
yeah, it was different. Like it wasn't. It was more like both of these albums that I did today reminded. I keep going back to Rick Jimenez saying that you got these bands that are like clashing like different styles of metal together. And I feel that when I'm listening to this stuff now that I never noticed before, which I thank him for bringing that out because I don't think I would have ever noticed that unless he said that. But certain people say certain things and you just kind of like sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
So going forward, I kind of get that now. And I hear it a lot more. So like I said, it was a little like you know. Groove doomy in certain parts as far as like musically. Uh, I didn't feel like the vocally it was ever like that because I mean, like I said, I feel like he had that Venom Inc. Hatebreed type vocal style, so it was kind of it didn't change a whole lot, but so it wasn't like he come out and did a ballad or clean vocals or nothing. So,
Right.
but but like I said, I did enjoy it. It's an easy 4-horn album for me, so definitely check that one out. So, and then I listened
Cool.
to a band called Norse Gold from Gothenburg, Västra Götaland, Sweden. Another Swedish
Sweden.
band.
Yeah. Sweden,
Yeah,
man. I'm telling you.
they've been around since 2012. Says they're melodic black folk metal, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But this band actually started from a previous band called Erblos. And the project sound was described as primarily traditional folk music, black metal, and melodic metal with elements of classic guitar work, which pretty much translates to thrash, but
Well, yeah. Yeah.
The current members are Norse Gold on guitars from 2012 to present. So the band members have kind of had to either left and came back, or they've kind of swapped around doing things. Then we had a Johan Tanander bass from 2013, and then 2018 to present. But he was on drums from 16 to 17, so it was kind of like he went from drums to bass. I guess that's a kind of easier transition, I guess, because they kind of complement each other. But
Mm-hmm.
then you had Robert. I'm probably gonna kill this name, but Asa Harvey. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Isojarvi. So that's what it looks like to me. But and we know how the Sweden like the J's sound like H's, so that's what I'm going with. But he was drums from 2013 to 2015, and then he joined back on drums in 18 to present. So it looks like he may have been in the band and then something happened for 2 years, and then he came back. So, and then we had Lisa Holtgren on vocals from 2017 to present. So, I didn't see a picture of this band, so I'm not sure if I actually looked that up real quick because I didn't pay attention to see if Lisa can go uh, both ways over there or not. So Oh, no, it's a woman. Okay. I'll just make it sure because, like,
Yeah,
you
right.
don't know about over there, but yeah. So that's very surprising to me after knowing that. So definitely a arch enemy type feel, if you will, from that perspective, because I would have never thought by listening to the vocals that was a woman.
Right.
So definitely got the gutturals and stuff for that there. So anyway, this is the band's third full length album, 9 songs, 33 minutes, 33 seconds. I don't know if they did that on purpose or if that was just magic, but 33, 33. So there you go.
There you go.
They're considered a melodic doom metal band, but you can definitely hear some thrash influence as well, because it's got some amazing guitar solos in this album. Um, Vocally, I can see it being more like melodic doom type thing, but not a lot, because it wasn't a lot of diversity vocally. It was more of the same, same pattern. Even they had like a slower song on there, and it was even kind of the same, kind of drug, which, I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it really didn't need to be, though. I mean, it works for what they were doing. So I mean, uh, no complaints for sure. It definitely grabs a hold of you and hangs on until the end. So I enjoyed it. I'm going to give this one 4 horns as well. Um, so 2 4-horn albums this week. Can't complain there. So, and then I was trying to see what was that EP I listened to. didn't I didn't do a lot of thing with the EP. So. Uh, Let's see. It was this one, I think. Yeah, it was the Mendenhall Experiment. Uh, it was 5 songs, 17 minutes, 31 seconds. So it was just an EP there. It was pretty good. It had like one song on there I didn't really care for, but for the most part, it was pretty good. So check that one out too. I'm gonna see what you did, and then I'll kind of go off from that. There's one album I want to listen to that I haven't gotten around to yet. So
Okay.
just in case you may have done it. So I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to give nothing away. So I know
Right.
the main one you were looking at, but I don't know what the other one was. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that being said, my formal review that I did, I also got through 2 albums all the way through, so that was kind of nice. The formal review that I did was "Blinding Force" by the band Incursion. They are a heavy metal band that was formed in Miami, Florida in 1982, but according to Encyclopedia Metallica, they're actually based out of Nashville now.
oh,
So,
nice.
so that's pretty cool.
Go knock on their
Uh,
door and invite them on.
I'm telling you, yeah. This is interesting because, like I say, they were formed in 1982. This is their debut LP.
Really?
Yeah, I don't exactly know. I would be interesting. I would be interested to find out what the deal is with that, because they had a massive hiatus between 1986 and 2018. So I don't know what the
Well, I
hell
mean, that
happened.
was kind of the same thing we were talking about with Leatherwolf. They
Right. So
went from like
yeah,
89 to 16. It's like,
yeah.
wow.
So I don't know what the hell happened with that, because their entire discography. And normally I don't pull that, but their entire discography consists of a demo in 1984, an EP in 2020, and then they put out a single ahead of the LP coming out, and this is their debut LP. So 40 years in the
Mm.
making from the time the band was formed until now.
It's got to be
The
awesome then, right? 40 years.
Yeah, you would think. The lineup consists of Max Havoc on bass and guitar. Well, he was the bass player when the band started. He's currently the guitar player. You have Michael Lashinsky on guitar. You have Steve Sampson on vocal, Robbie Creedy on bass, and Dan Duchette on drums. The album itself is 9 tracks long, 41 minutes and 11 seconds. Pretty fucking easy to listen to. And this one for me was a conglomeration of like Manowar, Sabotage, uh who else was I thinking of? A little bit of Iron Maiden sprinkled in there.
I,
So
I
this
was
is
I was about to say, I heard the single that I heard kind of reminded me of Iron Maiden. So
yeah. So this was what I liked about this, and it probably is a byproduct of the fact that they were formed in 1982. This is one of those straight up traditional. When you think of pure heavy metal, no sub genres, no offshoots, no mashups of styles or anything at all. when I think of a heavy metal album, this was basically it, as far as I'm concerned.
When you open the book of heavy metal,
Yeah, pretty much. This is kind of what you would expect traditional heavy metal album to sound like: powerful vocals, blistering guitars, you know, you know, machine gun style bass drums. So, I mean, that's really the only way I can sum it up. No long-winded review or anything like that from start to finish. Pretty much no nonsense heavy metal, no ballads in there, no kind of filler interludes or anything like that. Not that they don't have their place. There's just a certain place we think that they should be, and we don't think they should be counted as separate tracks. So I'm definitely giving this one 4 horns out of 5. And
the
then
trash can, that's where it belongs.
right. Most of the time, yes. On the cutting room floor is where a lot of them belong. Yeah. The other album that I listened to the new album Morgana by War Kings. Yeah, they are a excuse me, they are a power metal band. They have members from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So kind of almost the entire continent of Europe is involved here. So, which is fine, which is definitely fine. I wanted to listen to this one because I listened to their new album Revolution that came out last year, which was fantastic. This one was no exception. This one had a little bit more of a different flavor to it because they actually had some they had an appearance on 4 different tracks by Morgana Le Fay, who I don't know who she is. I can't find any information about her, but she kind of came in and added a little bit of a different element to the vocals, obviously because she's a female, right, to complement the vocals that are lended to the vocal style by the Tribune. So, which if you don't know, the lineup of no one has a name. You have the Viking on bass, the Spartan on drums, the Crusader on guitars, and the Tribune on vocals. So the Tribune, he is a completely, totally clean singer. But like I say, on 4 of the tracks, Morgana Le Fay came in and contributed some female lyrics. And actually, it's funny you mentioned some Arch Enemy style vocals on one of your other albums. Morgana Le Fay, she kind of does the same thing off and on. She's got a little bit more of an alternating vocal style. She'll sing some more aggressive guttural vocals during the verses, and then she'll contribute some clean backing vocals and on a lot of the choruses. So that added a little bit of a different element to this War Kings album than just the straight power metal vocals on the rest of the album and on Revolution before it. So it was let's see, there were 10 original tracks and 2 covers on this album. They actually covered a Powerwolf song called Armata Strigoi, and they covered a Dragon Force song called Cry Thunder. I was interested to hear how that was going to turn out. Both of the covers were very well done. So I'm going to give this album 4 horns out of 5 too. So we got a fucking clean sweep this week of 4 horn albums. So I liked it just as much. Well, I don't know if I liked it just as much as I liked Revolution, but it's up there. But yeah, so I had 2 4-horn albums. So did you. So 4 horns across the board this week. So
yeah. And then there's an album that I want to check out that I've heard a couple of singles off of, and it's the Mantric Momentum, Trial by Fire. Man, so far it sounds pretty fucking good. Like I'm gonna check the rest of it out.
Mantric Momentum. Okay, I may check that one out myself. So, excuse me. Let's see what we got. Man, these lists do not get any shorter. They do not get any. They are not getting any shorter. So coming up this coming Friday, November. Okay. Oh, so Victor gave us an update. Snowblind Festival moved from doors at 1 to doors at 2 already at the door to check in. So hey, Victor is in Atlanta. So that's good. All right. Thanks for the update, Victor. We look forward to seeing the live streams. Let's see. For November 18th, 2022, leading off, we have 16 with Into Dust. We have 17 Crash with Stamina. We have 130R with a self-titled album. We have 7 MND. I don't know if it's 7 Mind or I don't know what that's supposed to, but it's listed as 7 MND with Cataclysm. That's an EP. We have Airstrike with Power in Your Hand, American Thrills with Parted Ways, Amon Acid with Cosmology, Arc of Life with Don't Look Down. We have Archaeon with Parasite. We have A Real Hue with Post Lux Tenebris, Autograph with Beyond. Autograph? Seriously?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Avandra, Avandra with Avandra with Prodigal. We have Arion with Universal Migrator Part 1 and 2. That is a re-release. Blacklisters with Leisure Center. That's an EP. Blood and Brutality with Life Support. That's an EP. Blood of the Wolf with 4, The Declaration of War. Brothers Till We Die with Reincarnation. Burnt Out Wreck with Stand and Fight. Candlemass with Sweet Evil Son. We have Captain Caravan and Kaiser with Turn to Stone Chapter 6. Crest with Riptide. That is an EP. Critical Extravasation with Order of Decadence. Crypte with Capsule. Depths Above with Ex Nihilo. Desecrate the Faith with 3. We have D and Entwai Hung with Strict Regime Country. We have Digger Giddim with the Celestial Macrocosmic Scale and the Shimmering Path of the Supreme Regulator. Holy shit, that's a long album title. We have Dissenter and Dissenter with Alliance of Death. That's a split album with a US-based version and a Peruvian-based version of the band. So that's interesting. And then we have Dissenter with Breaker of Bones. I don't know if that's a third version because it doesn't have a country listed or if that's one version of the first 2. I don't know. This is very strange. Then we have the new album from Disturbed with Divisive. So that's looking forward to that.
Nice.
We have Doomsday with Depictions of Chaos. That's an EP. Enemy Eyes with History's Hand. We have Epic. I don't know if it's Epictase or Epictase with Necrosis. We have Eskhut. These are getting hard. We have Eschaton with Horacle. That is an EP. We have Feed Me to the Waves with Apart. Fields of Regret with a self-titled EP. We have Faux Hammer with Momentum. Fortid with Domer Dawan Hevern. That's an EP. We have Galpa with Myriad. Grave of Sacrifice with Land of Decay. That is an EP. We have Grief Bringer with The Horrible Wilting. We have Grimner with Urfader. High Noon Kahuna with Killing Spree. We have Hool with a self-titled album. Incantum with Strigay. Infall with Far. Jaded Heart with Heart Attack. Camera with Cerebral Alchemy. Kill Ritual with Killstar, Black Mark, Dead Hand, Pierced Heart. I don't know. We have Kiss with Creatures of the Night. That's a re-release. We have Laces Out with Here at the another one with Oh My Lord.
Is it the same?
Yep.
Same band?
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep. And it's another Ace Ventura reference too. Yep. We have Laces Out with Here at the Ashram. We have I'm going to have to listen to that just because of the reference.
Oh my god! That last one wasn't that bad, actually.
Yeah, it was Roger Podacter was the last one.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I'm going to have to listen to that just for the reference. We have Lugosi with Inconsolable. We have Lycanthro with Port Royal. Mistborn with The Cradle of Time. Morning with Disenlightenment. That's an EP. We have Murnau with Cellophane Radio. Mystosphere with Pathological. Necrophobic with The Third Antichrist. That's a re-release. We have Nightwish with Human Nature, a tour edition. Don't let M Shadows hear about that because he'll not be happy about it. Not Now Norman with It's Not This One. We have Omnifarium with The Summoning. We have Polymath with Zenith. We have R3VO with Fireflies. That's an EP. I don't know if it's R3VO or Revo. I'm not sure. Rat Rod.
It's Revo, yeah.
Is it Revo? Okay.
Yeah.
We have Rat Rod with Four on the Floor. Rebel Souls with Dawn of Depravity. We have Ren Marabou and the Berserkers with Odin. Songs for the Allfather. We have Rising Fall with Rise or Fall. Rising Steel with Beyond the Gates of Hell. Ronnie Atkins with Symphomaniac EP. That's funny, Symphomaniac. Saint Asonia with Extrovert, that is an EP. We have
Hmm.
Samal with Ika Ayaula, Scars of the Flesh with In Darkness Alone. We have Skythala with Boreal Despair, Snog with Meltdown, Sown with Atlantis, that's a DVD and CD combo. We have Spegles with Time, Futility, and Death, that's an EP. Steppendoom with a self-titled album. Tala with The Generation of Danger, Tavat with a self-titled album, Terrible Sickness with Flesh for the Insatiable, This Is the Last Time with Acclamation, Threshold with Dividing Lines, Thy Listless Heart with Pilgrims on the Path to No Return. We have UDO with The Legacy. Really, he's putting out another album?
God.
When does this guy not record? I swear. Unleash the Archers with Apex. That is a re-release. Visceral with The Tree of Venomous Fruit. Witchfinder with Forgotten Mansion. Witch Hunter with Metal Dream. Wolves at the Gate with Lowborn. That is an EP. Zentrix with 7 Words. And last but not least, we have Zagtar with Primordial Mother. So yeah, some pretty interesting ones on the list for this week.
I just wanted to. I was looking at that War Kings thing to try to find out anything about Morgana Le Fay, but I don't see anything either.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm going to have to kind of dig into that a little more.
But I mean, her name comes from, of course, mythology. But
right. But I don't know
Camelot type things with that.
Right, but I don't know who she.
Yeah, I don't either.
The real life person is. I don't know who she is. So
yeah. Which, I mean, I guess that's cool that you can kind of keep the internet guessing. So
yeah,
usually that doesn't happen.
That's definitely true.
But yeah, I was looking it up, and like this War Kings, they have a deluxe wooden box version of this CD, and it's got like a CD digisleeve, a medallion of the Dark Sorceress, full dice game, Black Tears with game instructions, and a poster, a velvet bag. 5 glow-in-the-dark dice, and then 5 playing cards that look like magic playing cards with all the members of the band and her on them. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah,
and I actually just found out who she is.
Okay.
Her stage name is Lakri. Her real name is Cecil Sen, and she was born in Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah, she appeared on tracks 1, 3, 5, and 7 on the Morgana album as Morgana Le Fay. So
gotcha. Okay.
So yep, that's who she is. I just found her.
There we go.
Very cool.
We learn something new every day.
We do. we literally do. Every week we learn something new on this show.
It's a never-ending source of information. That's for sure. So
yep. It's 100% true.
And we're glad that we can share all of that with you guys. And speaking of which, I wanted to kind of share some of the listens and numbers with you guys. Talking to the boss over at VOP USA Radio informed me the other day that we are pretty much getting 2 million listens a week per show, which is freaking unheard of. It's crazy. It's mind blowing, but we definitely are humbled and definitely appreciate everybody that takes the time to listen to us on this show. Like I don't feel like we're doing anything spectacular, but obviously it's I mean, like I said, it's just like us. We just always look at it as 2 guys sharing our thoughts and stuff on heavy metal, which we were doing around a campfire every week anyway. So why not share it with the world? It's kind of like what we decided to do. So, and thankfully, a lot of people have bought into what we're doing, and we appreciate that. Without you, we're really no sense in us being here. So
that's true.
We'd just be talking to ourselves, but yeah, we really do appreciate all the support and love that we've gotten, and even our Facebook's kind of blown up, over the past month or so. Victor's a big portion of that, and we can't thank him. And we can't thank him enough for that. So, you can check out his site over there, Rockin' Heavy, as well. So, and like I said, we're out here to share the love for all these other people trying to do the same thing. Because I mean, in the end, we're all metal fans, and that's what I didn't talk about this because I forgot, uh, but now that I'm thinking about it, kind of go back to it. We were talking about the reunion of Coal Chamber and all them doing that festival. Um, but I want to like pull that up real quick because um, let's see if I remember where I seen that at real quick. Do you remember where you seen that at Coal Chamber reuniting? Because I think it
Yeah,
was maybe
yeah, I was
on
on. It
that.
was yeah, I was on Blabbermouth. Is where I first
It's
saw
on
it.
Blabbermouth. Okay.
That's where I first saw it. Yeah,
Uh, let's see.
but to kind of echo what you were talking about, the fact that we've got 2 million people all around the world who are, whether you guys are listening to us right now live, or whether you'll go back and listen to the show afterwards. Either way, it doesn't matter, because like we've said before, the show that you listen to live is the show you're going to be able to listen to on the rebroadcast.
Mhm.
We don't edit anything out. Everything
Right.
that every little fuck up and faux pas and little
Yeah.
Wi-Fi mishap we have is broadcast out there to you guys. So you guys are listening to this now as it happens, but anyone who takes the time to listen to it after the fact, they're not missing anything. We don't cut anything out, so no one misses anything. So anyone who listens to the show whenever, it's like he said, it's humbling to know that people all over the world are listening to us and appreciate it. We're eternally grateful to the bands. We're eternally grateful to the new friends we've made, whether it be Victor, whether it be Dana and Krista over at Metal and Tats. Anyone who's given us a shout out, and especially to Dan and Tiff and Ace and everybody at VOP.
Mhm.
We can't thank them enough. We don't thank them enough, when we should. But they're the ones who allowed us to come over here to this platform, allowed us to do our thing, and it's blown up, and we couldn't be happier. And I don't know how much more fun we could have doing this, aside from it being our full-time job, and us getting to go to more concerts than we already have. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, there obviously are more places we'd like to take it. There are more places we're trying to take it. Literally, there are other places we're trying to go. And by the way, the fundraiser is still up. If anyone wants to go check that out over at GoFundMe, you can just search for Metalheads Unite. You'll find it. Um, you know, but the Patreon is going to be something that's going to be active here pretty soon. It is available, but it doesn't have anything going on right now. The TikTok is up, and actually
Yeah.
we're being more active there. I don't know if you guys are following yet, but I started something this past week called the Metalhead Minute. Basically, literally doing a 1 minute recap of what we talked about on the show last week. So, follow us over there. We are doing stuff with it now, so it's not just a page in name only. We are doing stuff now. So between TikTok and Twitter and Instagram and I said Twitter and YouTube and Facebook. So I mean, we're trying to keep the social media stuff as active as possible as we can, considering we both have full-time jobs. So check us out over there. We appreciate it.
Yeah. I can't remember I was trying to figure out what site it was so I could actually, you know, dog their ass while I was on here, but I can't find exactly what site said it. But they were talking about the Sick New World festival in Las Vegas next year, May
Mm-hmm.
13th of next year, with System of a
Mm-hmm.
Down, Corn, Deftones, Evanescence, Papa Roach. It's got a lot of bands on it.
Right.
Ministry, and that's where Cold Chamber and all them Soulfly. But all those were
Oh, I forgot
were
about Soulfly. Yeah.
yeah. Man, this thing's packed, dude. Cold Chamber, Spirit Box, Seven Dust, POD. God damn, it's hell. I might make a trip to Vegas just to go check that shit out. I ain't lying. Chevelle, Mr. Bungle, Kitty. I mean, they're on there, dude. 69
Mm-hmm.
Eyes. Golly, it's a lot of good bands on there. So, Orgies there. Like, man, I ain't heard that name in a while either.
I
Uh,
haven't either.
Cradle of
Golly.
Filth, Body Count, Lacuna Coil, Filter. Damn. Yeah,
I
it's
know.
pretty it's
I
pretty
know.
stacked, dude. But the thing was, like the headline I read, and I can't remember what site it was, but it said Gen Z or Gen X or one of those to say, oh, they have some, there's a Gen X, Gen Z festival. No, it's not. It's a fucking metal festival for all of us, man. Fuck you. That's what I want to say. Because, like, that's the thing I hate about, people categorizing other people's generations and shit. Like, we're heavy metal fans. We don't give a fuck if you were born in 1960, 1950, 1980, last fucking, if you're just now turning 20 and you're into the shit, who cares? I mean, we're all metal fucking fans. I don't care what generation you're in. And I hate when they fucking do headlines like that. It just pisses me off so bad. It's like, quit trying to divide everything.
Right, exactly.
Quit trying to divide everything up. Like, metal's not about division. Metal is about togetherness. So, we come together, from all parts of the world. I mean, we've proven that here. So, and we haven't been, we've got different age people in our, chats and stuff. I mean, and we love it. I mean, we don't care. I mean, that's not, we're not going to tell you, oh, you're 20, you don't know shit, you're wet behind the ears. Like, no, we're not going to tell you that because, you probably know some stuff about some metal stuff that we don't know. So,
right.
Because I mean, like I said, metal is so huge. You can't, I mean, even if it was a full-time job, I don't know if we could keep up with everything.
We still wouldn't be able to, I guarantee you.
Because there's so much out there. So, but yeah, I just don't know. For some reason, that shit just rubs me the wrong way when they talk.
It does too. Everything's got to be so segmented and divided and labeled a certain way and put into groups, and it's just. I mean, we've talked about the subgenres of heavy metal here before, and and that's fine. But they're even those lines are starting to blur. I mean, you've talked about that. I don't know how many times.
Yeah, I'll do this. I'll segment my hand for you. How about that? Fuck you.
Oh, you divided that one finger from all the other ones.
Because that's the only one you deserve.
That's true. People like that who just want to keep everybody just in these separate groups is ridiculous.
Just fucking kills me, dude.
It doesn't matter where you come from. Doesn't matter where you come from, and doesn't matter what color you are. Metal will accept you.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're metal fans here, so it's not.
That's what I'm saying. We're metal
to be a metal publication online, and to do that is, oh man, it's just.
I think it's irresponsible.
It is. It's like you know as well as I do that. Excuse me. We see headlines all the time where they talk about political shit on these heavy metal sites, and we're like, why? Like, why? Leave that shit somewhere else. Just because Ted Nugent said it doesn't mean it's fucking newsworthy. So, I understand Nugent's. He's a rock god. I mean, he's been around for years. Great guitar player. But,
and he's also entitled his own opinions. That's fine.
And some things, and honestly, some things he's got some ground to, and some things it sounds like he's just totally fucking nuts. So
absolutely.
So I mean, it's just like with anything else, but to take something that brings people together and then try to dissect it just pisses me off. It's just
me too.
Quit doing that bullshit. I mean, that's the whole thing with not to get political, but that's the whole thing that with politics is they want to keep everybody divided, because if we were together, it would scare the fucking shit out of them.
Yep. They wouldn't be able to handle it if everyone was on the same page. Yeah. Maybe not of the exact same opinion, but everyone can still be on the same page.
Right. Yeah. But anyway,
because that's like we talked about. Jason and I aren't death metal fans naturally, but we get exposed to new bands. Some of them we like, some of them we don't. Same kind of deal, but we're thrash guys by heart. He's a metalcore guy. I'm a power metal guy. Neither one of us, purposely go out and listen to death metal recreationally. Not often, but new bands come around, new sounds come around. We're exposed to them, and stuff gets sprinkled in where it's like, okay, this was okay, not that one so much.
Mhm.
So our we have our foundations in other subgenres, but then the foundation leads to the house being built, and you know different products get added, and the walls come up, and then the house gets built, and it's all heavy metal at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I guess that will put a bow on this one. So
Yeah.
a little bit over than what I expected, but it's gotten to be what it is. So
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be longer because we had a lot to cover from the last week's interview, but
Sure.
it's all good. So
Yeah. Three
and then,
three hours 3 hours is becoming the norm every week now.
so so for the recap of the big news is we wanted to announce that say a big thank you for the 2 million people that listen every week.
Yes.
um, and and then we wanted to share some news about the Politishock, which is on the VOP USA Network Radio,
Yep.
getting a shot at Sirius XM. So if they get in, then we all kind of got a shot of getting in. So
Yeah.
which is good. They're getting the tryout, but that's Sirius actually picked that show. So that's the
Still,
one
that's
they.
cool though.
I
That's
mean,
great.
it's awesome. So, Dan was kind of, he's like, yeah, it's not about my show. It's about my platform. I don't care
There
about
you go.
what show gets on here, but it's my
Yeah.
platform. Which,
And see
which,
that's and this and see that's another shout out. That's another shout out to Dan
mhm.
for being selfless. He really
Yeah,
is.
he is. Yeah,
He is.
he.
Very
And,
passionate man, but he's a very selfless man.
and it's like we get to the point where sometimes we're kind of like, man, is this thing ever going to do this or do that? But I think Dan is really smart in that category to where he wants to make sure that we're going to be in a situation where we're not getting screwed. So,
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh
think, I
yeah.
think, yeah. So I think once like he's into that position to where we can make announcements about actually making money or something, then he'll share that. But I think that's at the point where we're at is he's not going to do anything to hurt what's been built. So.
Oh yeah, because this thing every show, because our show, my brother's show,
Mhm.
all the other show, because I mean there's a ton of DJ Brenda Black, she's got her
Yep.
show, so everyone's show on this network, he genuinely cares about every single one of them.
Yeah, and I think the TWRP still does stuff on
I
there.
think they
So
do too. Yeah.
yeah, and then you got a Top Dog was talking on there the other night, but he's going to start doing other shows again. So
Yeah.
there's I mean he's got people that's been doing stuff. They just kind of been taking breaks and hiatuses and stuff. So
Well, I mean, life does happen. So
yeah, which we're pretty much we've been pretty good. Like we've had to take off an extra day this year that we didn't want to do,
hmm
but other than that we've been pretty solid. So.
yeah.
But that's the
Yeah,
thing is like
we've been
we want to make sure we're reliable because I mean the thing is like once you get behind it's hard to catch up. So
yeah, no shit. No shit. But yeah, before we go, just remind everybody, like I say, we've got the VOP USA Radio network. We got the website over there, VOPUSARadio.com. It's got the VOP USA Radio app, the mobile app on Apple and on the Play Store. Then we've got Metalheads Unite USA at gmail.com. We've got YouTube. We've got Twitch. Of course, the Twitch is the VOP, but that's fine. We have our own Twitter. We have our own TikTok. We have our own what am I missing? Instagram.
Patreon.
We have Patreon. So I mean, we've got plenty of ways for you to follow, for plenty of ways to catch us. Hopefully one day we will either, like Jason said, either have a list of all the platforms we go out to, or everything will kind of be pulled into one umbrella, so it'll be easier. It'll be more centrally located, but there's really no way that you can't find us if you want to. Like I said, if you want to check out the playlist, go to Spotify and go ahead and search Metalheads Unite, and you'll find all the playlists that Jason and I create and collaborate and put out on there. So they're easy to find. If you want to take the music with you, you're more than welcome to. That's why we do it. So
Yep. And then we'll keep you updated on the special guest scene there. So So we do got
It's all coming together.
two bands coming up. So
Yes.
pretty psyched about that. So
Yes, we are.
all right. So without further ado, I guess we will close this bad boy out since it's went over about 3.5 hours now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed everything today, and like I said, we'll try to be a little more condensed next week since it's only 1 week. So, but
Maybe
until,
we may do 2.5 instead of 3.5 next week.
yeah. Well, anyway, until next week, hope you guys have a good week, and we will see you right back here. And until then, keep those devil horns held high and jump in that pit anytime you can.
Have a great week, guys.
Oh, I said devil horns that time. Oh my God.
Oh no.